Happy Thursday, everybody. It's Sue from Flipping the
Woo.
Switch, and we're here for yet another Liquored Up Live. So I'm going to let our guest introduce herself. She's on for her round two, and then we'll just get
Okay.
this going. No need for a super long introduction since she's been here before. You know her, you love her. Feji, tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Remind them.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Fejiro. I'm Cozy Veggie here on YouTube. I primarily focus on like JRPG, video game content, whether it be video essays, reviews, and cozy gaming. So if you are interested in any of those things, you can come over to my neck of the woods.
Definitely do that if you haven't already. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Feji posts some of the most thoughtful content that you'll ever see in terms of the genre, whether it's JRPGs, cozy games. She's got a lot to say about a lot of cool stuff, and something we didn't get a touch on last time, which is a little bit of her reading. So I guess that's going to be my first question: is how do you come up with such interesting topics? Because time and time again, you always seem to provoke thought in me, and I like that about a creator.
For me, it kinda just it's all about kinda what I'm going through, like, a lot of the content that I make is kinda personal to me, what I'm going through, like, it's something that's impacting me, I think it'd be nice to share, 'cause for me, my YouTube channel is essentially kinda like my diary where I can just kinda, like,
Okay,
share and talk to you guys about whatever I'm going through, like, especially my gaming slump video that I posted, it was kind of a personal thing that was like, I make content about video games, but I have no passion about it, and so I was just kinda like, "You know what? Let's just talk about it," and to see all the comments and people sharing the same sentiments is just a fun thing. So, yeah, all of my topics are just kind of like what I'm interested in, and yeah,
I think that helps when we're interested in something. I think that helps give us kind of that extra spur forward in order to get something
for
done
sure.
on it. I found myself in a similar slump, but of a different variety. My slump is that for some reason I am obsessed with playing one game and just one game, and I can't
No,
seem
I
to get
that's a
away from it.
struggle.
It seems to
Yep,
be.
it's a struggle.
So, what game is that for you? That sometimes you just find yourself returning, and each time you could be spent playing new games and talking about new games.
Right. For a while, it used to be either Animal Crossing New Horizons or Fire Emblem Three Houses. I've kind of put that aside because, like, I played every route known to man in that game. I
Okay.
don't need to be playing that game at all. There's no need for me. I've played it all. Yet for some reason, it's like maybe I should try like an Iron Man run or speed run. I don't know. Like no, you have a huge backlog of physical and digital that need your love too. So I get it. I totally get it. Sometimes it's kind of like your comfort game that you have.
Soul food. Yeah.
Yes, your
Food
soul
for the
food for
soul.
sure.
Definitely. Morrowind is definitely that for me. Like, part of it is, and people actually, I talk about this, is it's a cozy game as well. Because there are
Mhm.
large swaths of that game where you're just trekking through empty, serene wilderness, kind of a liminal space in that
Right.
way. And I don't know, there's
Mhm.
something inherently comforting about something like that. Like when you're not doing the questing and doing the ham-fisted early 2000s computer role-playing game like stiff sword animations while you whack an enemy till dead. Like when that's not
Right.
going on, it's actually quite cozy. I think you'd actually
For
like
sure,
it. But
there's a lot of games like that, like, even, like, Breath of the Wild, that's a huge community that cozy gamers are obsessed with that game because
yes,
sometimes you don't even have to engage with the big bosses, you could just literally just run around on a horse, do some side quests, and close the game and go about your day. So I love how it's a game for both hardcore gamers and casual cozy gamers as well.
might explain some of that success. I'm funny. It's funny you mentioned that. One of my favorite Reddits of all time was it's a Reddit called Scenic Simpsons, and
Mhm.
basically what they do is they take shots from The Simpsons and they show it without any people, and it's just Springfield. It's Springfield at
Yep.
sunset or Springfield at nighttime, and there's just a strange comfort in those images because they're images that literally are taken from a show that was a big part of my childhood. And I
Mhm.
find it similar with Zelda, and there are communities that are Scenic Hyrule, Scenic Zelda, where they just show
Yep.
screenshots of a serene Hyrule from all the different games. And it triggers a similar feeling of nostalgia, I feel like.
Mhm.
I
For
guess
sure, I feel
it's
it's like, honestly, like, if you grew up with it too, you're just kind of like, "This is kinda home," you know?
Yeah, it's a big part of gaming for me for sure. Is it as large a part for you?
For me, it's like again, my history with gaming has always been like I was kind of more of like casual with it, but as
Right.
I've gotten older, I kind of go like look back at the memories that I've had when I was a child and all the fun memories that I've had with either my brother or like my parents and my family. It's always good, happy moments that I can always look back on.
It's nostalgia is a very powerful force. Like
Mhm.
I know
Sometimes
it's
good, sometimes bad.
sometimes both, a little bit of both, but yeah,
Yeah.
regardless, I know what's happening. That's the interesting thing. Like I come from a cognitive science background, so I understand what's happening. I understand that all nostalgia is really is just a chemical reaction in my brain, but it
Mhm.
doesn't make it any less powerful. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Now,
It's a powerful thing.
now you mentioned your content creation kind of stems from a diary writing habit. Is that something you've done for your whole life, or is that something you developed early on?
It's kind of been like an on and off thing. I've always been journaling my thoughts and throughout life, and I try to at least keep some of the journals that I have. I don't keep them all because moves, life happens.
Yeah.
But, like, it's always nice to just, like, look back at, like, where I was and how I was feeling in that moment, and honestly, it gives a great safe space to just especially if you don't feel like you don't have anyone to talk to about anything, you can always go to your journal. Like, for me, for gaming, I don't really have that many IRL friends that, like, love gaming as much as I do,
Same.
so it's treat it as a place to just talk and share about my love for gaming. Whether one person listens or 10 people or whatever, it's just nice to just have a place to just know that I can talk to anyone really about it. That's how I meant it. Like, I treat my journal, it's kinda how I treat my channel.
I think that's a good way to be. I think a lot of people get too hung up on things like metrics, numbers, things of that nature.
Mhm.
And to me, this has always been kind of a personal project. And if people come along for the ride, that's great. If they don't, that's
Mhm.
great too. Whether I get one view or 500 views on a video, it's good either way for me because it's kind of my way to kind of sound.
Exactly.
It's also kind of a way to sound out my thoughts.
Mhm.
If you don't have dialectic is always good, whether you're doing it with a mirror or whether you're doing it with another person.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me if my content gets viewed or not. If it does and other people enjoy it, that's just an added bonus. But I
Mhm.
feel like people get hung up on this way too often. Did you see some people associated with this? I don't know if you saw some of the, but a little bit of drama. We'll leave the particular person unnamed because I don't want to be I don't ever want to be a drama channel. But one of the things I
Mhm.
highlighted about this particular person is one of the things that turned me off immediately from their content. Whether their content was good or not, I'll never find out. I subbed,
Mhm.
and then immediately there's this huge community post that was like literally like a couple weeks after I subbed literally yelling
Right.
at his subs because it's like I have 4,000 subscribers and I only have a few hundred hits on my videos. And
Mm.
and I'm quitting YouTube. This may be my last post because of all of you. You're why I'm quitting. And I'm just like, what
That's a
the?
lot. What?
Yeah.
Because like, obviously, that person who made that post made the channel out of wrong intentions. They probably thought, "Oh, I'm gonna go viral, I'm gonna have money, da, da, da,
Yeah.
da." It's like, your subscriber you don't shouldn't feel entitled to your subscribers. Your subscribers it's free. They chose that they liked your content, they wanted to consume it, and they get to the right to whether they wanna watch it or further support you in any other way. Like, you
So,
don't have to feel entitled, like, if my subscribers thought, like, "Oh, I don't really like her content anymore, I'm unsubscribing," they have every right to do that. If they don't
yeah,
wanna watch this video, so be it. This is a fun project for me because I worked in
exactly.
corporate for corporate for a bit, and I absolutely it was soul sucking, so I needed to have a creative outlet, and I'm so glad that I found this channel because it's honestly given me purpose and allowed me to just, be creative, and it
Well,
doesn't matter if I have 500 subscribers or 1,000 or whatever it may be, this is just a place for me to express myself, and I enjoy that.
I want to stick a pin in that because I think we come from a very similar background there. I'm in the corporate world as we speak, and
Mhm. Ugh.
the fact that our entire world runs on fucking paper, it
Oh my
is
god, I know. Numbers, numbers, numbers,
it
numbers.
is it is soul sucking, man. And I gotta
soul
tell.
draining.
Oh yeah, so we're definitely gonna hit on that. But just as
Mhm.
a final addendum to what we were talking about, I think you're exactly right about the motivations being improper on that. And he actually mentions it in the
Mhm.
post. He's like, "This is the second time I've done YouTube, and both channels died the same way. Both channels were monetized very quickly and then dried up to nothing because you all didn't support the content."
Oh
Like
god,
that's exactly what.
gross.
Yeah, it was terrible.
It's giving icky,
And
icky.
yeah, it's right off the bat. It's like you're bad vibes, homie. Like, nope, can't be having that.
Mhm.
See ya. Like, see ya,
I'm good.
see ya.
Unsubscribe.
See ya. Never want to be ya. But to me, it also speaks a little bit about number one, dude. Like, you work harder than all these other channels that are your peers. First and foremost, no, you
Mm.
fucking don't. Um, I used to make videos of me talking over screenshots, and I worked harder than the fucking content I'm talking about. The content I'm talking about is literally like gameplay footage with like some emojis over it. It wasn't even his gameplay footage, I don't believe. Like it's like,
Mm.
no, absolutely not. Number one.
Mm.
Um, I don't fucking work hard, and every content creator that I know or are familiar with work infinitely harder than me. And those are your peers, homie. You chose the video game YouTuber space. So I know that ain't fucking true. The second thing is you chose the YouTuber gaming space. This is a red ocean. There are
Mhm.
millions and millions and millions of us doing this.
Yeah.
Like the fact that any gaming YouTubers can get over a million is incredible in and of itself to me. The fact that there's
Mhm.
anybody doing gaming and they have a million, that's incredible because there is just so many of us that are just eating that pie up. So
Yeah, there's like
relax and enjoy the journey,
yeah,
man. Like
exactly. Like
that
there's
is
no rush to get to that.
yeah, that's my message to this particular guy. And with that attitude, you'll never get to
Yeah.
that. You'll never get there.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
need to get there. You would be a fucking monster
You don't
with a
deserve
million.
it.
You would be a monster with a million subs.
For
You would be a
sure.
monster. Power
The
corrupts.
entitlement he already has now, imagine
Yes,
that with a million.
with a
Oh
million
god.
subs, you're a monster.
Ooh.
You are a monster, homie. Like yeah, like you can feel it. I mean, I'm around
Mhm.
150. I can already feel the little bit of social clout I have with select people. I'm I can only imagine what that feeling is like at a million. Like no,
I know.
that
Honestly kinda
guy.
scary.
Yeah, it's terrifying, and again, I think we come from a similar thought process in terms of that. So I like to lay out my philosophical groundwork, which I think people are familiar with at this time. Essentially, I'm a anarchistic thinker from the David Graeber school. Essentially. A lot of people don't know Graeber. Impress me. Tell me you know David Graeber.
I don't, but you would
That's
great
okay.
if you enlightened me.
That's okay. David Graeber is a anthropologist, and
Mhm.
he wrote a book called Bullshit Jobs. That's where I first came into that's where I first came into knowledge of him because as I read this book, I'm like, huh, sounds a lot like my job.
Mhm.
Like that was kind of a moment of awakening for me. It's like, wow, like this whole world we've
Mm.
created does run on fucking paper. And David Graeber was the
Yep.
first person I ever read that called that out. And that's
Course.
part of where my content creation comes from is just to try to get away from that particular world because
Mhm.
it's very depressing to um
Yes, for sure.
there's a book by a man named Harari was the last name, and the book is called Sapiens, and it's a
Mhm. Ooh,
history.
that sounds
It's a
familiar.
history of humanity, very popular book, and he makes the point in there that at this point in time, humanity has both a great blessing and a great curse. Our great blessing is
Mhm.
that and our great curse is that we hallucinate. We can share in mass hallucinations, right? We can have a hallucination, and we can make other individuals believe our hallucination and believe in it strong enough to build on that hallucination. And so this is the
Mhm.
way that we have real things like air, water, land, um, our health. And slowly but surely, these things have been completely supplanted by our hallucinations. Things like nations, corporations, religious institutions,
Hmm.
things that we literally conjured up in order to give structure and order and meaning. And slowly but surely, the entire march of civilization is those things supplanting the real. And
Dang, okay.
it's both good and bad. There's good and there's bad with that. But
Mhm.
it just goes to show you, just like when you get to a corporate job where the paper says no, so we can't do this, or oh, the
Mhm.
paper says it's got to be done this particular way, and it works. We do it. We do what the paper says,
Mhm.
and it's absolutely incredible to me. And so, video games are kind of that lifeline to get away from that. As strange as that fucking sounds, like I can play
No,
a
it's
video
not
game.
strange.
I can play a video game and I can get away from that for a second. And in playing something where you're really
Mhm.
outdoors, like in Morrowind, it's kind of a tenuous
Mhm.
reminder and link to the fact that, hey, I do need to go outside. I do need to go on a hike every once in a while in real life.
Yeah.
There is a world outside of this strange paper reality that we have literally
Yes.
paper mache over the entire world.
Honestly, true that. I just feel like after I mean, I wasn't, like, corporate for too long, but you can just see, like I don't know, like, it's not like my dream to just work for someone to make them more rich, you know? Like, that's not my
um,
end goal. Um, but yeah, I just feel like it's just kind of having video games honestly has like video games reading has allowed me to just like keep myself sane at all times, like sane, pretty much.
well, and you got to remember that, and it's important to me to remember as well, but remember that the world was insane before you got here. So
Yeah.
trying to grasp long before you got here, the world has been insane. Um,
I'm
and
crazy.
and crazy. So again, we are just the inheritors of a world that really doesn't make sense at this point. And so now we're
Hmm.
basically just cobbling over as best we can to avoid that crash I
Yeah.
talk about with Dunbar's number and Ashby's law. We're just kind of cobbling over slowly but surely. So Tony's in the chat,
Yeah, we're just coasting.
and
Hello,
Tony says,
hello.
"Hey, what's going on, Tony? How you and Mandy doing tonight? Hope you're cooking something good. I'm not cooking, but I did order from a delicious Japanese restaurant. I've got a pork curry cutlet with noodles coming to me with udon.
Oof,
So
that sounds
I'm
so good.
oh, this place is aces. This place is aces. Um, so he says, jumping in late, but agree that fiction can point us to reality more than modern life. Yeah, especially this fucking modern life.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then that was one of Tolkien's explicit goals with Lord of the Rings, to bring back public consciousness the universal truths of reality that humans used to intuitively grasp. He
Hmm.
says, as we've
Definitely. Just feel like
go ahead.
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just thinking that, like, even though, like, there are fictional stories, they can teach us so much about ourselves and take the moment to just reflect on what we value, what our beliefs are. Even if it's not a real tangible world that we're playing or reading, it still can teach us a lot.
Well, it's a reflection of that world. It's a reconstruction
Mhm.
of some of those universal truths that Tony's talking about.
Yeah.
Oftentimes. Every video game, just like any art, is a mirror held up to nature as that person who created the game or that team that created the game views that game. And
For
To-
sure.
Tony says, as we've dissected the world further and further, we've lost track of the whole organism. Yeah, boy, have we. There's another
We're
thinker
lost
named
in the sauce.
Lost in the Sauce. Speaking of sauce, that reminds me, to as a reminder. So I am drinking Hibiki Harmony, which is
Ooh.
it's a widely available Japanese whiskey that people, if you're looking for an entry point into the world of Japanese whiskey, into that peat bog taste in your mouth, if you're looking for an entry point into that, you couldn't ask for a cheaper one because the Japanese whiskeys are stupid anymore. I've got one I
I
open
just
up.
had my little Simply Lemonade. It's just a little can.
Nice, nice, nice. lemonade is um lemonade is one of the greats. So can't really speak foul of that. And yeah, so there's what we're drinking. So everybody, I did it. I remembered. I actually I always forget lose track of that. But yeah, it just seems like, yeah, video games are a great window into that. And basically, what they do for me is to kind of just remember, hey, you're more than just paper. You're more than paper. This
Mhm.
is a digital recreation of a real world, and that real world is out there for you. And again, kind of a roundabout way
Mhm.
of getting there, but so it is in this constantly connected society that we're in. I feel like.
Very true.
So Caesar's in the
Mm.
house. He says, "We'll have to catch this one tomorrow, but stopping by to say my hellos and send my love to both of you." Caesar, I appreciate that.
No.
Hey, did you see how swole Caesar's getting? He actually posted a
No,
workout
he's
for.
getting in his
He's
fitness.
getting that gym work in, man. I am pouring myself a glass of Hanazaki whiskey. I'll toast to Japan with you too.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay. Well, Tony, to you I say, kari,
Mm.
kari. So,
So dope.
yeah, yeah, I can't wait for that. Let's see, about another hour or so. I'll take a quick break and grab that food. But in general, yeah, the the cuisine and the whiskey in Japan is very high tier. The Japanese. I've made this point in their game development as well. Um, Japan is a refinement society. They're a refinement civilization.
Mhm.
What I mean by that is they are so good at taking a concept, in this case, Scotch, and just
Mhm.
refining that to a mirror's polish. So
Mm.
they come, they work. The particular person who actually Suntory Distillery literally went to
Mhm.
Scotland and brought back with him the keys of making perfect whiskey, and then over
Mhm.
a period of decades in Japan, utilized the unique climate in Japan to produce just some of the best whiskeys in
Ooh.
the world. Is what happened.
Yeah, I feel like
So
that happens with Japan, yeah. Like,
yeah,
currently, I love reading a lot of literature from Japanese, authors. Like,
oh
currently,
yeah,
I just read The Traveling Cat Chronicles by Hiro Arakawa, which is a fictional book about a man and his literally just a man and his cat. But I feel like from the authors that I've written, they're just fictional, literary fiction authors. They have a really beautiful way of just writing about the human life and how human relationships go about and just the human existence in such a beautiful, elegant way. Every time I've written from either if it's him, the new artist or author that I really like is Sawaka, what's her last name? I know everyone loves her Murakami. He's hit or miss for me.
Yeah, Murakami.
Um,
I just discovered actually. I'm actually, believe it or not, right
yeah.
in the middle of Kafka on the Shore right now.
I'm kind of that's not my favorite book for him. Mine's Norwegian Wood. It's a really Norwegian one's really good. If you get to that one, highly recommend. Kafka on the Shore is interesting because it's like written in like dual perspectives
Yeah,
of like I think a
it's
15-year-old boy,
it's kind of fucking with
an
me.
older guy. Yeah, it's definitely wild. I couldn't stand that teenage boy. I couldn't stand reading his perspective. The old man, he's great. Teenage boy, not so much.
Well,
But yeah,
but you
Japanese
gotta
author is really good.
keep in mind he is a teenage boy. We're
Yeah,
assholes at
I
that
know.
age. We are absolute assholes at that age.
So yeah, I know
Now,
he doesn't know much better.
but I'll tell you the juxtaposition. I think that's the point so far in the book. But the
Mhm.
juxtaposition between the old man and the young teenager, it's very jarring. It's
Yeah,
it's
very, very.
it's very jarring. And again, there's something he said about
Mhm.
a non-likable protagonist at times. Like it's not my
Mhm.
favorite cup of tea generally. Um, I'm
But when
I'm
done well, it could be done great.
yeah, like I'm drawn like right off the bat. I'm drawn to like Things Fall Apart by Achibe.
Oh yeah.
In terms of
Good
somebody
one. I
that,
haven't read that in a hot minute.
yeah, somebody that is just an absolutely loathsome person, but you
Mhm.
understand it. But you do understand it.
Mhm.
At the end, given
Yeah.
the kind of the the masculine trap that he's basically caught in, this masculine prison, essentially.
Mhm.
It's an interesting story. God, I want to read that again. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't read that since maybe because I remember it was required reading for me in
should
high
be.
school, and
It
I know
should be.
my parents are Nigerian, so like my parents already loved
Oh,
that book.
okay.
It was very much, oh, it's our culture. So like, yeah, it's a good one though.
Oh, it's a cautionary tale that goes across culture. Like it absolutely is, because
Mhm.
it's a it's an interesting window into that. Um, so okay, parents are Nigerian. That's super cool. So that's one of my favorite food cultures on the planet.
Yes, our food is always so good, so bomb.
100%. So 100%. Yes, Dodo is from there. You claim
Yes,
y'all claim jollof rice. I understand that. They're
absolutely.
okay.
I will fight anyone who says otherwise.
Yep. So those other assholes that also claim that,
Y'all can
yes.
touch it.
Now several countries actually claim jollof rice. Um,
Yeah.
Several claim chicken yassa, which is like my new favorite dish
Mhm.
ever right now. Like,
Yes.
oh, I ever since I learned how to make that, I'm dangerous. Like it's like a once a month thing.
It's really addicting for sure. Like, I'm luckily and fortunate enough that, like, most of that food is just, like, a common occurrence for me, so I have it on the daily.
I'm working to popularize it in my neck of the wood. Everybody that tries yassa in particular is like, holy shit, what is that? So
Yeah,
that is yeah, that is chicken
the
yassa,
spices,
and it is one
man.
of the greatest things you'll ever eat in your life. So
Mm.
everybody has to try it. It is one of it is literally like top three in chicken and rice dishes. Like it is wonderful. It's up there with me with like the jambalaya. Like, oh, it's so good. Um, and again, yes, this can be a food cast at times. I'm a big eater, guys. Like 100%. So, what have you been playing lately?
As of right now, I've kind of been trying this new thing of playing 3 games at once because I used to be kind of a person that would play 1 at a time, but, like, my backlog is ever growing, and I thought this would maybe, like, expedite my process of getting through my backlog, but I'm
How's that
trying to
working?
play 3 different I don't know. It's kinda going. I don't know if it's no, you gotta trial and error, but, like, right now I'm playing Fire Emblem Echoes: Shadows of Valentia on the
Okay,
3DS, and then I'm playing an Otome visual novel game called Olympia Soar on my Switch, and then
I
Stardew
have
Valley is
that.
a cozy farming sim. I've got a different mixed variety, so if I'm feeling for a JRPG, tactical RPG, go the Fire Emblem. If I'm feeling
Okay.
I wanna just farm all day, Stardew Valley, and if I wanna do a visual novel, I got that. So, it's keeping me, like I always have, like, an itch to scratch, so I always can just gravitate to those 3, so,
So
yeah. I
I've
haven't
got
played
two.
too much.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 of those I have. I've got Olympia Soiree and I've got Stardew
Ooh,
Valley.
yes.
Olympia
I know that everyone's
Soiree,
talking about it right now.
yeah, I'm definitely excited to eventually get Olympia Soiree started. Stardew Valley scares the shit out of me. And
Why?
because I know the moment I get into that game, that becomes my new Morrowind. I know it.
Yep.
I've seen enough of it to
It'll suck
know
you in.
the moment I touch that fucking game, like whoop, there goes life.
Yep,
Like there
exactly.
goes all of life. I
No, I feel
just
you. It's a definitely, like I kinda slept on it for a while, and everyone's like, "You need to get into it." I'm like, "I know I will eventually." It's been in my collection for, like, a while, and then I finally got into it this past couple weeks, and I'm like, "Okay, I get it. I get the hype. I get where people were coming from. I'm just late to the game."
I'm not sleeping on it as much as I am actively like fleeing from it.
It's just
But
like, "No way."
yeah,
I know
it's
myself.
well, it's like I was talking to Emily last time and we got talking about World of Warcraft. Same thing, same exact thing. It's the
Mhm.
same reason I won't touch Final Fantasy 14. Like there's
I
certain,
know, that one's
and
it's a difficult one.
if I was fucking smart, I'd do the same thing with Morrowind. I'd fucking run. Like, oh great, Tamriel rebuilt has a new has a new part of the province out. That's great. I'll see you in a few years. You'll have 3
Right.
out by then. Oh, like, but every
I
time
know
these, every time
tried
these,
to get into FF14. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead.
I try to get into FF14 because I know I would love it. And a lot of work, and there's like what? It's been out for over 10, 15 years? I can't remember, but it's been out for such a long time. But I know if I'm in it, I'm gonna be like in it. And like, I don't know if that's good for my backlog or myself or my time.
I'm tempted by what I've heard of the story in that particular game.
Mhm.
I keep being told by one of my best friends, V, who knows my philosophical predilections, get to Endwalker. You have to get to Endwalker in particular.
Yeah.
And like, she seems to think I would appreciate Endwalker immensely. Um, apparently the antagonist slash protagonist question mark is basically me philosophically, so that's interesting to me.
Okay.
That is
I need
interesting.
to get on it.
That's what she says. Yeah. So we'll see. And basically, like, not to spoil anything because it's not really a spoiler because she swears it's not. But the analogy that she gives, that's basically what this person does to the world,
Mhm.
is like, imagine
Ooh.
you're on a bus, right?
Mhm.
And the bus is breaking down every 5 to 10 miles. So you're all trying to get to
Mm.
the same place on the bus, but the bus breaks down. And
Right.
you have to, and basically every time the bus breaks down, you have to wait. You have to call the repair guy. The repair guy comes out, gets the bus working for a little bit longer, and you keep on chugging along a little bit longer. And
Mhm.
most of the people are like, man, the wait for the repair guy just keeps being a little longer, just keeps being a little longer.
Right.
But we need to wait for the repair guy. We need to wait for the repair guy. And apparently, the antagonist slash protagonist is the one motherfucker on the bus that's like, hey, no, we don't need to wait for the repair guy. We need to get our asses out of the bus and we need to walk.
We need to get our shit together. Let's just do it.
We need to walk. And so
I need to get into.
that intrigues me greatly. That is basically what the story is
Mhm.
their reliance on a system that isn't going anywhere
Oof. That
has
commentary.
has crippled them, and basically this person forces them to walk.
Mhm. To think, maybe
Um,
we shouldn't do this.
yeah, or we can do this all day long, but we're not getting anywhere.
Mhm.
It's one of those things. So I greatly desire to explore that story. I just wish it didn't have the fucking trappings of a 500 fucking hour game behind it.
Yeah,
That's
and the
my struggle.
subscription thing.
Yeah, and
I
it's
don't know if I'm willing to
yeah, I don't like subscriptions. I for that story, I might be willing to try it.
Hmm.
But again, I'm scared of the commitment. It's kind of like watching One Piece. It's one of those things where, like,
Yes.
it's 1,000. Like, on one hand, yes, I understand it's going to be one of the greatest anime I ever watched. Like, I hear that time and time again. On the
Like,
other
do I
hand,
wanna do it?
it's 1,000
I wanna invest into
episodes.
it. Oh, I feel you. I was like, "Do I wanna read the manga? I don't have enough shelf space, so pass." 'Cause I don't know if I wanna invest into that.
It's
That's so many, like, arcs, and it's
holy
just a
shit.
lot. It's hard to get, it's you have to catch up on a lot because 'cause it's been around for over 2 decades now, so,
It's been around a
I know it's gonna be
long
good,
time. Yeah, it's
and I
it's
think they're
great.
starting to finally end. I think that's what I've heard. It's like, damn. Kudos
Um,
to all those fans, though, because 'cause they've been ride or die for that
well,
One Piece for such a long
I
time.
hope so, because here's the thing I want to happen. I want One Piece to get an
Hmm.
end.
Yes.
Because as we're starting to see, some of these long-term animes, whether it's Berserk
Mhm.
or whether it's Dragon Ball Super, like, they're just not going to get an ending because of tragedy, essentially.
Yeah.
Very, very sad to see. Very sad to see. Um, Toriyama dying. Then,
Yeah.
so Emily's in the chat. Hey, Orbalology.
Hello,
Also,
hello.
hello. And she says they're making the One Piece, so maybe the opportunity to try it. Yeah. And Fedgy, I would encourage you. I'm actually currently getting ready. I'm to the fight with Smoker basically. And not
Mhm.
that means anything to anybody who hasn't been there yet. But that's where I'm getting ready to go into. And yeah, it hooks you. It does definitely hook you. So I'm in for the long haul now.
Mhm.
But it is a scary
Yeah.
commitment up front. Very scary commitment up front.
Yeah. Like, I know I'll love it. I enjoy a lot of anime, so, like, I know I will. It's just, like, daunting. It's very intimidating.
Um, Same thing with JoJo. People say now at this point. Have you watched JoJo?
I haven't. That's on my, like, I have such, like, a to-do list of, like, classic anime that I have to watch. That's on there. I need to watch Cowboy Bebop. I need to watch,
Oh, you haven't seen
um,
Cowboy Bebop?
um no, my brother's been like, "Why haven't you watched it?" He
Oh,
has. I know.
and that
There's
one's
so
short.
many of them.
That one's short enough to where you can do it. Like that's not a
Yeah,
commitment
for
at all.
sure.
You'll
That one's
you
definitely doable.
you'll fucking burn through that shit.
Mhm.
Gotta
Like,
watch.
that'd be my whole personality if I end up watching it.
Oh yeah, you got to. Oh, you'll internalize a lot of it. It's got some good stuff in it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Orbology says Cowboy Bebop is a classic. Yeah, 100%.
need to get into
So
it.
Cowboy Bebop is one I would say you should watch. I'll give you another one. That isn't a huge time commitment, and that is Satoshi Kon's classic. It's Paranoia Agent. If you haven't seen it,
Oh, Satoshi Kon, I really love his work. I love Perfect Blue is one of my favorites. Millennium Mattress is
Perfect
good.
Blue is terrifying.
It's so crazy, but it's so good. It's so good. I remember watching it for the first time and just being like, "What the hell is happening?" But, like, I ended up like, I live for it. I'm all about it.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really
that
good. And
fucking
Tokyo Godfathers is good too.
anything by Satoshi Kon. The man was a genius. Paprika. Um,
Yes, Paprika.
yeah, Paprika's good. But if you've not seen Paranoia Agent, it's worth watching. I consider it, believe it or not, I consider that to actually be his magnum opus.
Ooh,
And the
interesting.
reason
Okay.
being is it is the only time you see Satoshi Kon do a long form storytelling. Most of his stuff is movies. This is the one
Yeah.
time where he did like a 10, 13 episode series basically. And here's the
Yeah.
premise. Here's the premise behind it and is to not spoil it.
Mm,
So basically
okay.
there's a woman who's working in the corporate world,
Mhm.
underappreciated, um constantly busy, has expectations. She
Mhm.
she invented a hit mascot and she has expectations that she's going to make her company a shit ton of money with the next mascot, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
because of the pressure that's building up, like she's becoming more and more anxious. And this isn't helped by the
Mhm.
fact that walking home from work one day, she is attacked by a kid in a baseball bat.
Oh my god.
But she's attacked, but it doesn't
Oh my
stop there.
god, okay.
She's okay.
Okay.
She's okay. She ends up being all right and saying that, in the attack came some clarity though. Because what it did is I was attacked brutally, but it led to me having to take time off work. And this
Mm,
made me feel better. But that's not the end of it.
interesting.
More baseball
Mhm.
bat attacks happened by this person named Little Slugger. A
What
kid
the
who
hell?
is a kid who's the student council president of his class and is having somebody run against him that might take that away from him is attacked.
Mhm.
A woman who has a hidden identity is attacked. And over time, you start to establish a pattern that these people who are
Mhm.
attacked all have the stress and pressure of living in the modern world, new maladies of the soul, if you will. And this attack
Whoa.
serves to remove them from the pressure of their everyday lives.
That's
And
crazy.
I won't spoil it. I can't.
I had to watch that.
But when
Oh,
you
that sounds
find
so
out,
interesting.
what the fuck is going on in this show, holy shit.
Oh my god, I'm gonna love it regardless. So chicken,
Yes.
that sounds really good premise,
Best part of
though.
all, the whole fucking show is free on YouTube. Dubbed and subbed.
Oh, thank god.
You can literally
Let's
type in Paranoia Agent full episodes. And there's
we
the
love
whole
that
series,
paranormal
both
agent.
dubbed and subbed. I don't have a
Oh
recommendation.
my gosh.
No matter how you do it, just watch it.
Just watch it, consume it. Yeah, I'm probably gonna love it because I love most of his works.
Hmm. It's excellent. So Orbology says the music alone in Cowboy Bebop, mwah,
I
100%
feel
chef's
like I
kiss.
haven't yeah, I've heard a lot about the music. I've heard so much about the music.
The exit song lives rent free in my head forever. The outro song, 100% rent free. I can't get it out of my head. It's one of those songs. It's kind of like the Madoka Magica episode 3 and on outro, like a song that
Ugh.
just lives in my head. Um, there's another one I would recommend if you haven't seen it. Madoka Magica, very quick time investment.
Mhm. Doka Magica.
Yeah, Madoka Magica
Sounds
is
super familiar.
it's a deconstruction of the magical girl
Oh,
genre.
I've heard about this. I've been kind of putting it off for a while because I'm not gonna lie, I'm low key kind of scared.
Oh, it's yeah. Stick with it for at least 3 episodes. After episode 3, it
Yeah.
has one of the biggest drop views ever. Like
Oh
the end of
gosh, yeah, I've
episode,
heard
yeah,
about this one.
it is so saccharinely sweet for 3 episodes, and then at the end of episode
And
3,
it's just
it
like,
hits you with a twist, and then it hits you with that fucking outro right off the bat.
gosh.
Like just the most tonal change and shift in anything I've ever seen in my life, and I fucking love it. Um,
Yeah,
so
those shows, I feel like I have to like mentally prepare myself.
so Tony Temperate Thomas says Susumu Hirasawa is one of my favorite composers of all time. Paranoia Agent, yes. That
Ooh.
intro song, that whole intro segment of Paranoia Agent, like with the people just laughing, like they're just laughing. It's incredible. Like it's literally like you'll never be more chilled by people just standing around laughing. Is that intro? Like it's fantastic. Yes. The outro song actually very good too. Like the nice peaceful serenity of the sleepy song.
Mhm.
Yeah. Pretty much anything Yoko Kano touches is amazing too. I don't know that by name, but I bet if I type it in, Yoko Kano.
The composer?
Cowboy
On
Bebop's composer. Okay.
got it.
Yeah. Big chops.
Talent.
Big fucking chops. Yeah, that whole thing is that whole show is a masterpiece. So yeah, short form shows
Here's
that are easy commitments. Yeah, Madoka Magica, deconstruction of the magical girl genre. Paranoia Agent, which is probably one of the greatest examinations of what it's like to live in our modern world. You'll see, and
mhm.
what it does to people. And then
Yeah.
the Cowboy Bebop, which is just
Another good
a
one that I
banger.
really, really love is called Psychopaths.
Okay,
It's like set in
Psychopaths.
a set in like a cyberpunk futuristic version of Tokyo where they like live under this rule, a system called the Sybil system,
Okay.
where like everything is calculated, everyone is segregated into these like types of color hues. If you are like everything's meant for you by your color hue. So your job is already laid out for you. Where you live is out for you. Like everything is already set for you. And if you don't have a certain color hue or number, you are considered a latent criminal under that. So you pretty much go
Mm,
follow this like group of like I guess cops who kind of go around arresting latent criminals. And the main protagonist we follow kind of like has this perfect cute skew and number, but you get to follow her as she kind of like questions society, question why the system is the way that it is. So good. It has 3 seasons. The first one is probably the best one, and it kinda falls off after that, but first one is really, really good.
definitely on it. Psychopaths. Let me add that to the list real quick.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. Always looking for some new anime to watch because, like I said, I have to joke that
Yes.
I live at the corner of Anime Avenue and Anime Way. I live at the intersection there. So,
You could be neighbors there.
yeah, yeah, there's a lot of good stuff, a lot of good manga, a lot of good anime.
Mhm.
What was the first anime you remember really enjoying?
Probably Sailor Moon, if I'm gonna be honest. That was probably, like, the one anime at the time, I probably wasn't understand it was anime until, like, maybe later in elementary school when I, like, dove into, like, the anime hole, but that was the one that really, like, stuck out to me. Then I got older. I think there was one that I forever will, like, stay with me. It's called Clanand or Clanand. It's kind of like a slice of life anime, but it's based, I think, on a visual novel. Super sad. Oh my god, it's so sad. I don't think I've ever cried so hard in an anime
Clannad?
in
Isn't that a
my
visual
life.
novel on Switch as well?
Yeah, it is. It's based on a visual novel.
Okay,
The anime is so good.
I will have to take a look at that because yeah, that's on my list actually. I've got it on my wall.
Yeah.
I've got Clannad, which is a stupid fucking expensive game now in English.
It is. I've been trying to get it, and
Stupid
I'm like, I'm
expensive.
not willing to budge, like, that's expensive, like, even for, like, a used copy, it's still expensive, out of box.
Now, Emily says real quick to skip comments. We'll go back. We'll definitely read everybody's, but
Mhm.
this is good information. Yes, you can import the visual novel on Switch if you don't want to go with the limited run games version. And she says the Japanese import is much cheaper. Um,
Mm.
now, Orbology, can you confirm for me if is it in English as well? I know that, like for example,
Yeah, I was about to ask.
Fata Morgana, because it was a limited run games joint, they actually paid for the English exclusivity on that because they're assholes. But hopefully they didn't do that with Clannad because that would be yes, it has English. I own it.
Thank God. Okay,
Okay, so
I need
go
to buy
yeah.
that.
So Play Asia, Clannad. This is the
Yeah.
thing. See, this is before I had gotten into YouTube as much as I had. So I was a fucking non-YouTuber that didn't know Orbology existed or Cold Nights or any of them. And so I didn't know that when I plunked down almost 100 large for that fucking game. And so this is why you follow
Oh,
this is why you want to follow Orbology. She's got some amazing content that actually helps with that
yes.
kind of stuff.
Go subscribe.
Yes, definitely subscribe to her channel, subscribe to Feji as well. Again, some of those thoughtful content. Every time I watch one of um Feji's videos, it gets the noggin jogging, I guess is a good way to put that.
Thank you.
It gets the noggin jogging. So let's catch up with comments a little bit here. So
Mhm.
let's see. We were at so Tony says, yes, Feji, I've been meaning to watch more, but I really enjoyed the first season, so Psychopaths. And then
Yeah.
Orbology says, I remember enjoying season one, Psychopaths. The other seasons, eh.
Yeah, I agree with it. That's
Okay.
like they have it's the second one's all right. I just think the first like honestly, the first you can watch the first one and end it there and you'd be fine. You don't need to like watch the other two. It's a pretty good
Okay.
standalone season. Season 2 kind of answers a little bit more questions. But it doesn't really follow all the characters that we kind of stuck around with. And then season 3 is just like a whole bunch of new people. I don't know who they are. So
Okay. So
yeah.
it's like Haruhi Suzumiya.
Yeah. So I would I'd advise season 1. It's a classic. It's great.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna push for that. Season 1's great.
Haruhi has a similar vibe going. Like season one is some of the most fun you'll ever have in an anime, and then season two hits you with like the fucking endless eight. And I've heard there are defenders of the endless eight. I am not one of those. Where it just repeats the same fucking day over and over and over again. Um,
Oh, yeah, because apparently, like, Japan, they I don't know if it was Japan or here where they release the episodes out of order.
yes, it made it
So
impossible.
I'm just, like,
That was yeah,
so confused. I remember watching it back in the day. I'm like, "What the
it
hell is
made
going
it
on?"
fucking impossible to
It's
figure
so
out.
impossible.
Like absolutely.
Yeah.
Who thought that'd be who thought that'd be a great idea? Like, wow.
Right?
Like
It'd be really interesting to rewatch that now with the right order and see
it
how it
would
would
be.
turn out.
It would be. See if it kind of
I'm like, "That's
changes
a
my
lot of work."
perspective on it. But
Yeah.
so Tony says on my first trip to Japan, I bought a replica Dominator. So that's
Ooh, oh, I wanna get one of those so bad. It's the gun that they use in the show.
hmm
It's so wild. I've seen it, like, replicas of it, and it's insane. Insane.
Yeah, hey, I can think of all kinds of reasons to visit Japan. That's one of them. I'll give you another reason to visit Japan: the fruit culture. I'm not even kidding.
Interesting. Okay,
So,
lovely. I would love to know
so,
more.
so again, Japan is a refinement culture. So they take
Mhm.
things and they just take it to a mere shine. This includes fruit. Now, you will find the most delectable strawberries, the most aesthetically perfect cantaloupes. You will
Mhm.
find just berries bursting with flavor. They take
Oh,
fruit to a fucking Michelangelo level art form. It's
but I heard
also
it's super
it is
expensive though.
very expensive. Like, yeah, some of it,
Yeah.
like you're gonna pay like $60 for a strawberry. Like,
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon?
you have, but
$60?
Veggie,
That's
I promise you,
wild.
once
It's
you
probably
only
amazing.
YOLO, you only live once, and it was the best strawberry I ever had. It was a white strawberry, if you can imagine such a thing.
Ooh.
Perfect. I mean, perfect. Like, screenshots wouldn't do it justice. Big, perfect, wonderful flavor, wonderfully flavored. Now, I
Dang.
can't tell
Okay,
you
white
whether the
strawberry.
$1,000 cantaloupe is worth it. Probably not.
Oh my god, 1,000.
Yeah,
That's
$1,000
insane.
melon is worth it. But because I didn't have $1,000 to spend on a melon, but they also have watermelons that are square, that are perfectly square.
Oh, I've seen those.
Like, yeah, and they're also very expensive. Now, those are just aesthetic. Like those actually, I mean,
Yeah.
it's a very very good watermelon, but
Mhm.
not better than a good summer melon you can get here. For
Mhm.
I got to try some of that because they're not terribly expensive. But me and a couple buddies went in on one, but in general, yeah, the fruit growing culture there is like I forget what they're called. It's like the queen something strawberries. They're so good. They're so fucking good. Um, so Emily says yes, you can import the visual novel. We already did that, so yep, we're good there. You're talking about all the things I watched when I was a kid. Haha. My younger sister made me an old man dango pillow based on Clannad. Oh shit,
Oh, that's so
that's
cute.
awesome.
That's
That's awesome.
adorable.
And then Emily adds in, yeah, it has the Japan and the English logo on the front. Okay, so
Nice.
that's the one. Um,
That's great
heart
because some of
emoji.
these there's so many I don't know why it is, but the Switch version for a lot of games are way more expensive than, like, a PS4, PS5 version, and it's
Switch
always
tax.
irks me.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, what is that about?
So two things. Number one, the company sees the added on the go, even for a 10 plus
Mhm,
year old game. They see the added value of the on the go as being a value add. And to be fair, it is. To be
mm,
fair, it is.
yeah,
The second reason for that is the cartridges are more expensive to produce than the Blu-ray discs. They just
that makes
are.
sense.
So the combination of that, and the third thing is, of course, that Nintendo succeeded brilliantly in their wicked plot to make us pay full price for what is effectively, and I'm going to say this, this may be controversial, but it's true, for a handheld experience.
Mhm,
So Nintendo finally cracked the code for charging that full value for the handheld. That's what they did. Um,
mm,
I still think the Switch is my favorite system ever, but I'm not going to bullshit myself and say that the Switch is a console that can also go handheld. Nope, it's a handheld that can
yeah,
also be a console. It absolutely is.
for sure. Yeah, I predominantly play mine handheld. I do have,
Me too.
like, multiple Switches, too many that I need, but I have, like, the OG Switch on docked mode at all times, and then my OLED is usually my, like, go-to
Uh huh.
handheld.
The OLED is absolutely gorgeous for handheld mode.
Oh, it's so nice.
Like it,
Remember playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for the first time
yeah.
on it, I'm like, "Oh my god, this is what my experience should be like all the time."
Xenoblade Pops. I'll tell you when I'm playing Trails from Zero right now, and I
Ooh.
don't know if they remastered the fuck out of that game, but in motion. It is one of the prettiest games art directionally wise.
Oh,
Actually,
it really is,
it's
especially
really
compared to the
pretty.
Sky arc. It's really nice.
Um,
Like, I'm gonna be kind of be sad once I get to like the Cold Steel games because I really do like the like little right characters that we have.
uh-huh. Was it
I'm
always
gonna miss.
pretty? Was it always that pretty, or is that something that was remastered?
Feel like it just might have been remastered.
Okay, because man, for the time that came out, that game pops, man.
Hmm.
That game really pops. So Tony says the best fresh squeezed orange juice was from a hotel breakfast in Japan. Best I've had. Yeah, they take their
Wouldn't
fruit
doubt it.
cultivation. They take their fruit cultivation as seriously as they take all of their other food. They take it very seriously. I'll tell you another country that
Mm.
has a wonderful food culture. That's Korea. That
Oh my
is
god, yes.
South
Korean
Korea.
food.
Now again, I can't.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
I can't speak for
It's too
North
good.
Korean food because I haven't been to North Korea.
Mhm.
But South Korea, Seoul has some of the best food that just is a mix. It's like this wonderful mix of every fucking culture on planet Earth that they've just found a way
Mhm.
to perfectly fuse together. Like,
I
man,
know, I wanna go to Korea so bad, like South Korea, because, like, I would love to do a whole food tour of the whole country because I know different provinces have
yes.
different, like, things of their own that they bring to the food cuisine, so it's like, oh, 'cause I follow a lot of, like, Korean or, like, this guy called Korean Englishman who's a British guy who
Okay.
travels to Korea to share Korean culture, and he's traveled throughout all of, like, Korea, and the cuisine each province has, like, oh my god, I'm jealous. Looks
I
so good.
I have a
So
friend who
good.
lives in Seoul, and
Mhm.
yeah, on top of that, you get some of the best suits on the planet. You can get there for dirt cheap, actually. I try to go suit fitting every time I'm in Seoul, which is not often. It's
Mhm.
not as often as I'd like. So I say every time, like I go there all the fucking
Right.
time. I've been there like twice, guys. But when I go, like I always have a reminder. It's like definitely do your suit shopping because you can get. I'm talking like Vestimenta. I'm talking Zynga, and you can get it for like
Ooh,
8 times less than what you get it like if you buy it here in the States and import it. Like just the
okay.
finest fucking clothes that you can get for really cheap there. Um, yeah, Seoul is fantastic. Um, fantastic city, great food, great skyline. Um, and again, don't know if it's any different for in North Korea. Have not been to North Korea for reasons. Um, but
Right.
but South Korea has it going on with food, 100%.
Mhm.
So Emily says there's a spin-off for Clannad with English on the cart in Japan as well, but I hear it may be less worth it. Maybe best to go with just the original game. Yeah,
Okay.
I haven't heard much about the spin-off. Nowhere near as much as I hear about the OG game. OG game, people are like,
Yeah.
this is one of the best experiences story-wise, like you'll have. It's really good apparently.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to stack it up against Fata Morgana and Raging Loop, although that's a fucking joke. Raging Loop is fun. Raging Loop is a lot of fun,
Mhm.
but it's nowhere near the storytelling caliber of Fata Morgana. Um,
Got
so,
it.
so that is a joke, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, Hikari Mimamoru Sakamichi Day.
Mm.
The Evo versions for the PS Vita sort of remastered both the Sky games and Crossbell. Yeah, I'm very excited actually to do the Sky games. I'm gonna have to get those on the Vita because handheld is my preference. So it's exciting that they're
Yeah,
on
I
there.
really hope that they port those games soon to modern consoles. I know that's technically, like, Exceed's old
Yeah,
situation,
there's
but,
like a
oh,
problem
it
that
would
Xseed is being
yeah.
assholes apparently.
Like, why? It would do so like, those games are so much fun, and it would do really well just to have all of them on a modern day consoles. Because like, yeah, it's on PC, and I played on PC, but it would be so nice to have it on Switch. or even on
Every
yeah.
every single RPG that comes to Switch does well, just about.
It
Like
does well.
oh look
Yeah,
at fucking Persona 5. Literally coming out years after the momentum was done and they still sell
and
out. They
it's
sell out their
still
stock.
exactly.
So absolutely, 100%. Um, if you have an RPG and you can put it on the Switch, and you don't put it on the
Do it.
Switch, I question your business acumen. I truly do.
It's like for me, I burn through a lot of JRPGs faster on a handheld. Like it's just easier to just like
Pick up and
I want
play.
to be on the couch just playing away, play it away. I want to
Yeah,
be in my work breaks, I can just play real quick, be done, you know? I don't know what it is. Sitting down to like with my PS5, I don't know. It's such a first world problem. Be like, yeah, I need to like sit down, get this all plugged in and all that. But just having the convenience of the Switch, just great.
it's it is a first world problem, but it's a nice first world problem to have. Like
Yeah.
I am shameless in loving enjoying having that problem. Kind of like I'll give you another first world problem. It's just my bugaboo. I guess it's worth talking about. So
Hmm.
World of Warcraft, speaking of which, just put out a new mode that they have called Plunderville,
Ooh.
right?
Hmm.
And so I watched the stream because for whatever reason I can't seem to come to grips with the fact that the Blizzard I know and love is fucking dead, and they've been replaced by this strange Activision skinwalker that doesn't do shit for their fans anymore.
Mm.
But I did
All about the
notice
money.
something. Well, I did notice something that caused me to have great umbrage. And maybe this is
Hmm.
just me, maybe this is just my bugbear, but why is it that game developers dress and groom like such shit?
Hmm.
Yeah, let me explain that. So you got this Plunderville thing that shows up, right? And
Hmm.
the lead software engineer shows up to represent his company and tell us, okay, what the fuck this product is about. And he's wearing a
Right.
wrinkled ass t-shirt that doesn't fit him. The associate game director is wearing a fucking hoodie with a pair of shorts. He's not wearing any pants with a hoodie. And I
My
just
God.
and maybe this is just me and maybe it's just me coming from the business world, but I've said over and over again that game developers don't know how to sell a product or pitch a product. You have to get in front of the customer and you have to sell them on this fucking game. That's what you're trying to do. And I
Hmm.
just can't fucking take them seriously. This is a public
Yep.
presentation. God damn it. You're representing your game,
Right.
you're representing your company, and you have to be professional. I remember when Ichi
Hmm.
Anuma came out in a fucking hoodie. Like literally, he had a fucking hoodie on and a suit jacket draped over the goddamn hoodie when he did Skyward Sword. I remember being greatly angered at this as an investor at the time. And just being like that, it literally looks like it's so pathetic. It's literally like somebody just threw a suit jacket on you because they noticed that you showed up to E3 in a fucking hoodie. And I'm just like,
No.
you can't be
Come
fucking
on.
serious, man. You can't be serious.
It's a Like, I get it, you love to be casual, but there's a time and place, and, like, if you wanna be presentable, people take you seriously. Like, imagine if I anywhere, God forbid, wore, like, a casual outfit, people would flame me. Like, "Oh my god, how dare you not to, like, read the room or be professional." So, I feel like
Yeah.
that should be also
So
done the
I
same for them as
and I'm
well.
giving the same standard to these man children who don't know how to fucking dress in order to pitch a product to their company. Since you can't bother to dress professionally, why do I give a shit about your product? I know it's not going to be a
Mhm.
professional product, and because you can't even show up in without you can't even show up to a presentation on a new product and not wear shorts and a hoodie.
True.
Like it's
Be
it's a very
presentable.
it's very strange. It's a very and I admit this is probably me coming from the fucking business world, but it is very first world problem. But god damn it, like I would say something to you if you were representing my company in a wrinkled
Mhm.
ass, holy ass t-shirt. Like,
Has a stain on it.
fuck. Anyway, let's catch up in the comments. So Miss Mandy's in the
Hmm.
house. Hey, Mandy. Um,
Hey.
hopefully, you and Tony got something good to eat. I was telling them I have a.
Mhm.
I'll just repeat it since you're in here. I'm having a delivery of pork cutlet curry over udon, which sounds wonderful from this wonderful Japanese restaurant to go with my Japanese whiskey. So hopefully you're eating something good. Maybe cup bop. I know you like that.
Mm.
Um, so Orbology says, but the Switch ports had some additional graphical upgrades, I believe. I can tell. It looks
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
definitely noticeable.
It looks so
Mhm.
good. Um, and then Tony says, Sue is such a globetrotter. Breakfast in Seoul, lunch in Paris, and dinner in Vivek. Uh,
I know.
every
Jelly
every
jelly.
every day is dinner in Vivek City. Yeah, because it's unbelievable. I don't get around as much as I used to, Tony. I need to get back to world traveling. Mark Twain is correct. World traveling, if you can do it, you should do it. If you can't do it, you should read books and you should travel through books. It cures you of all prejudice. It really does.
Mhm.
As you travel the world, you meet people from all walks of life. You find out they're just like you. You find out that most people are really goddamn nice. Actually, a vast majority of people are really cool, and it kind of takes away some of the cynicism I have when I do world travel. I'm a lot more cynical now than when I was traveling, and the reason being is I
Mm.
feel like living in the corporate world, I only deal with the worst of us a lot of times. And just getting out and traveling and meeting real people with real struggles and getting to know them and talking to them, it it's eye opening and it makes me a little less cynical. And so that's well worth it's I need to get back to it. So
Mhm.
my new drinking game is taking a shot every time Zoo drops an F bomb. I will be trashed very fast. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that.
We support responsible drinking here.
Yes, responsible drinking, and that is not responsible. Um, so to be fair, I drop approximately 0 f bombs in the actual review videos. So that's the family friendly content. I should probably denote that on the channel that hey, the reviews are family friendly and thoughtful and philosophical. The liquored up lives less so. Should probably denote that. So Todd Howard usually dresses nice, but a lot of people shit on him for being too much of a suit, over-promising and selling a product. Yeah, Todd Howard, that little guy that loves to tell tall tales. Yep, that little guy that loves to tell tall tales. Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies, Todd. Yeah, I can see that. Now, I will say this: Todd Howard does dress very nicely. I've never seen Todd Howard come out in a fucking hoodie and shorts to pitch a product. But you're right, Tony. That doesn't mean like look at Fallout New Vegas. Look at what a shit show that turned out. So you're absolutely speak the truth that just because you dress nice doesn't mean the product you're presenting is going to be any fucking better. So you know what? I accept that argument. I think that's fair. I think I'm just overly mad because I come from a position where it's like, hey, we got to dress to the, we're presenting a product or we're going to a business luncheon. We got to dress to the nine, man, dress to impress. And I am not impressed with the World of Warcraft wrinkled t-shirt guy. Like no watch, not even a fucking watch. Like, man. Just popping in real quick to say hey to some awesome peeps. Inferno Fox Gaming says, "Well, I'm in the company of awesome
No.
peeps." Inferno Fox, of course, being one of my first back to backs. He was my first back to back. So I had Inferno Fox followed by Inferno Fox. That was a really cool chat. I'm not sure how that worked out, but it worked out fine, like 100%. Then Tony saying, "Hey," to Inferno Fox, hoping you're having a good afternoon. Bash also wishing Fox a good says, "Hey, good buddies." Then sounds fancy. And then Shinky's in. What's going on, Shinky? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Shinky.
Shinky, we got to get you in for your first Liquored Up Live at some point, buddy. Gonna have to get you onboarded. Have the experience. And yeah, Shinky, what's up, brother? Hey, Shinky. Shinky, LOL, stupid ducking autocorrect. See, Inferno Fox is saving me from myself. He knows I read the comments. So he put ducking instead of that other word. So that's one less shot Rad Bash will have to drink. So Rad Bash, your friends are looking out for you. Yeah, Rad Bash says that will kill you in minutes.
my gosh.
Yeah, do not
We
put
just like, oh.
whatever you do, Rush Dog, don't put fuck on the Liquored Up Live bingo. It would be you would as a free space, maybe. So, Tony says agreed on travel. There are so many nice people in the world and bad people, but in my experience, overwhelmingly good natured. Yes. Yes. I'm trying to think of everywhere I've been, and I can think of the negative experiences on literally one hand, and most of them were caused by me being an American shithead and just not understanding something I was doing. There was one memorable trip, and this wasn't my fault. I just want to preface this, guys. Not my fault. But I had a buddy with me. Likely story, I know, but I swear to God. And we were in Luxor, which is Egypt. And
Ooh.
yeah, formerly Thebes. And we made the mistake of like touching something we shouldn't, because in this particular case, we're actually there to kind of there's migrant tribes that are all over that area. Bedouins, and now these weren't the Bedouins, but these were another tribe. Forget the name off the top of my head. But they have when they migrate, they also migrate with the remnants of some of their ancestors, some of these tribes. And my buddy made the mistake of picking up something he shouldn't have picked up. And this led to us being confronted by several angry men. And thank God we were there with somebody who was kind of hosting that experience, and he was able to explain and get things calmed down. But again, that was us being dumb as fuck. That was not their fault. That was our fault. And it ended up okay. It actually ended up okay. But you just got to be mindful when in Rome. Do as the Romans do.
Right.
Understand that when you're in another place, you're not there. Try to take a less touristy approach. Don't be there to export your loud first world tendencies. Even if you go to the first world to visit, whether you're in Paris, whether you're in Nigeria, whether you're in Suriname, no matter where you go, be there to learn something about the place you're at and try to take something home with you. And if you take that approach, which is what I always try to do, I found that my experiences are nothing but positive. And you will meet amazing
Right.
people. The other thing, don't stay. More fun travel advice. Don't stay in fucking resorts. Okay, don't like a 48-year-old Karen woman. Like, don't do that. What you want to do is, if you can, there used to be, and this is prior to Airbnb ruined this. Airbnb ruined this completely. But there used to be travel exchange forums. And what they would do is they would arrange for lodging to promote cosmopolitan interests and promote exchange of cultures. You would bring a gift from the nation you're from, and in return, they would house you, they would feed you, and that way you're staying with local people, like actual local people on the ground anywhere you go. Now, you can't do that anymore. Airbnb kind of took that and monetized that concept. Now everybody wants money. It's once again another wonderful capitalist export, right? So now everybody wants money instead. So I don't know if you can necessarily do that, but we used to make a lot of use out of the travel forums. Really, really, really cool. Really cool. Laugh out loud. That's the goal, right, Shanky? Well, I hope not. I don't have a hotline available, but if you're thinking about playing the zoo, take a shot with the F-bombs game. There is a help hotline for people that are thinking about unaliving themselves. You will need that fucking hotline if you try to play that game. So don't do that. Again, disavow. Brick Barnes says hello. What's up, Brick? Welcome in. Talked a little bit of anime earlier. I'm sure we'll talk more, but I'm glad to see you here. Shaky says maybe one day. Yeah, definitely one day. There's no fucking maybe about it, Shaky. You're coming on. It's just a matter of like getting the time arranged. Like, we gotta have you on, man. I gotta get to know the I gotta get to know the person behind the cactuar.
Cactuar.
So Super Retro Force, the whole Super Retro Force is in. Another day, another liquored up live. We love it. I love having you guys too. And then Zoo is always teaching me random stuff I never knew. LOL. Well, I try, and I try to be as good a student as I
Yes.
am a teacher. Because again, we've all read different books, we've all had different experiences, and again, the best teacher is also a student. Now, Shaky says, "What if I'm an
True
AI and
that.
there's no actual person behind the cactuar?" Well, what if I'm a
That would be
ghost and there's no
crazy.
actual person behind this ghost? So I think it would be a great meeting of the minds. Ghost
Ghost
and
in the AI.
yep, the ghost and the cactus AI trying to have a conversation together. I think we could sell tickets, Shinky. Not that I monetize, but I think we could sell tickets. So Shinky isn't real. He is imaginary. We would know. Well, okay. Well, I'm okay with having imaginary friends as well. So that works out. Are you all familiar with the concept of an egregore? Anyway, because here's the thing: all reality's fucking made up anyway. So, is anybody here familiar with egregore? Feji, have you ever heard of the concept of the egregore?
I think I've heard it in passing.
Now, this is one I'm just starting to learn about, so I'm going to read. So,
Mhm.
I'm going to read a definition here because it's not a concept I am. This is one of V's concepts that she's always bandying about, and I'm learning
Mhm.
more about it, but it makes sense as I hear. So what is the egregore? Egregore's name comes from the word aggregate, which means to form a collection from different parts. This is obviously a reference to his plan to absorb the Andromeda aliens. Oh, never mind. That's not the academic definition. That's the Ben 10 wiki definition. Okay, well, okay. So what is an egregore? An egregore is think of Jung's collective unconscious, and
Mm.
essentially they're all the things that we build. Um, whether it's financial institutions, whether it's businesses, whether it's churches, whether it's political machines, whether it's a legendary deity like Vishnu. Basically, an egregore is the collective unconscious that becomes manifest due to our belief in them. That's what an egregore is.
Mm. Right.
So, what if Shinky is just an egregore that is slowly being birthed? Now, there's a mind-blowing philosophical concept. And what if, in having a conversation with Shinky, we can help develop that egregore even fuller and make it more powerful? There's your pitch, Shinky. Come on the show. So, Red Bash says, I've never even heard of that, Lamau. I hadn't either until very recently. No, that's
We're learning new things.
yeah, when V comes back on the show, we will talk about egregores a little bit because I promise you that V can explain it a whole lot better than I fucking just tried to do with a fucking Ben 10 wiki entry. Incredible. I didn't even notice it's like, oh, his plan to take the Andromeda alien. It's like, oh crap.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So Brooke Barnes says, when are you doing your Morrowind stream? Yeah, work has been pretty brutal this week. I'm hoping to get on Morrowind either tomorrow for a little bit of that character, or definitely the weekend. I'm gonna do some Morrowind streaming. And there's where I went wrong. So Tony here to save the day. So for those who want
Getting clutch.
the French concept and not the Benton, it's spelled egregore, not agregore. Okay. Well, thank you, Tony. And again, this is what I mean by sometimes Zeus sounds smarter than he is. So y'all remember that, okay? And that's a perfect example of that. So egregore, not agregore. Okay. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, very humbling, and I appreciate that because that's what I get for being a dumb shit and exploring a concept I haven't fully internalized. Now, Tony, how well did I explain it? Because again, it's all secondhand. I haven't really delved into the concept of the egregore yet. So you'll have to rate me out of 10 down here and let the chat know. Um, it, one being I made a complete clown of myself. 10 being that like I explained it from a professor level understanding. So yeah, rate me. Rate your professor. Um, so so speaking of which, did you see that Larian Studios? Big news came out that interested me today, and Larian Studios basically said we're not going to do Baldur's Gate 3. We're not interested in doing Baldur's Gate or Baldur's Gate 4, doing any downloadable content for Baldur's Gate, or having anything associated with this company anymore. We're going to go on and we're going to make a brand new thing. Just wanted to get your thoughts on
Yes.
that. That's Finn Vink doing that. What do you think of that? Is that disappointing, or is that, or do you think that's a good move by Larian? What do you think?
It's an interesting because again, I feel like they're kind of already known to doing games, and that's kind of obviously this is their third entry. I think was it Definitive Divinity Origins is their other projects that they work on, which is kind
Divinity,
of like
yeah,
similar in vein. Yeah, so I feel like the Baldur's Gate was such an impactful game for gamers. I still have yet to like really dive into it. And probably like 4 or 5 hours into it. I still have yet to scratch the surface, but what I've had played has been amazing.
it's good.
I think they feel like they probably done all that they could have in that project, and the people behind the team are like, "I'm really proud of what we've done, and I feel like this is what that's our final project, and that I'm happy with that." And if that's what the case for them, then I so be it. Because I feel like sometimes people, they don't wanna be caught up in a position where they create something great and then people are kinda let down by a follow-up, kind of like happened to, like, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Tears of the Kingdom was good from what I've heard, but at that point, Breath of the Wild was already so new and fresh, and so Tears of the Kingdom, when that came out, it wasn't as new as fresh as Breath of the Wild was. So if they were to make a Baldur's Gate 4, how can they top a game that's already so great and offers so much? Plus, they probably don't wanna be, like, pigeonholed into that. Maybe they wanna venture out and dabble into other things, so maybe a variety of reasons.
So I again every very thought provoking as always. I love that you bring up Tears of the Kingdom because for me, I kind of feel the same way. Tears of the Kingdom is a good game. I'm never going to say Tears of the Kingdom was a
Mhm.
bad game, but I'm not sure
Yeah.
it's a good Zelda game. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Whereas Breath of the Wild to me was a very good Zelda game. It hit
Yeah, because at the time, Breath of the
it
Wild was so new and brought so much to not just RPGs, but just gaming as a whole, and to try to replicate that again with something that we've already, like it's kinda hard to replicate that, you know?
well, again, I actually think that they did a bad job in terms of replicating that original magic. In terms of Tears of the Kingdom, you spend so much goddamn time in menus in that game, or you spend so much time building, like Bob the Buildering, like all this shit together and fusing these pieces of shit together in order to, and it takes away from
Right.
the fact that what is Zelda at the end of the day? Zelda is you are a knight in dark fantasy Wonderland. That's what Zelda is.
Mhm.
And I just feel like adding all that shit just took away from the experience to me. And to this day, I
Mm.
will play Breath of the Wild. I'll get a little bit into it, and I'll fall off immediately. I'll just fall off.
Mm.
Like, and that's
I'm in
not
a
even.
situation where I kinda wanna get back into it because the first time I played it, I kinda just, like I think for me, I played it too linearly, if that's even a word. And I really wish I took the opportunity to really, like, explore the world, so I'm probably gonna do another replay of that game kinda soon, just to really, like, fully and capture it, or maybe, like, do, play in a cozy perspective and see how that, like, changes my experience with it.
Well, that's the other thing, and it sounds crazy. I kind of had this problem with some of the way I've modded Morrowind too. The game just seems too busy to
Mhm.
me. Like you're pulled in
Yeah.
literally 1,000 different directions when you start that game. Whereas
Yeah.
I think Breath of the Wild eases you in. It starts you with very concrete objectives. You can go off and do your own shit,
Yeah.
but they don't actually put
Mhm.
that map marker on you in multiple directions until you get to Kakariko Village. That's where the
Yeah.
game's. But that's at that point, that's 10, 12 hours it can be up to. Just getting your
Yeah.
bearings. If you're anything like me and you stopped and smelled the roses, like it's a good chunk of time before you're in there.
Yeah.
With Tears of the Kingdom, like as soon as you hit the surface, like you're thrown into like here's 90 different fucking things to do.
Yeah, it was maybe a little too ambitious.
Yeah, yeah. I finally had to do that with Morrowind where I scaled back some of the modding because it just made the game so dense that literally by the
Mhm.
time you complete even a fraction of the side quest offered. And it's quality content. Like the modders in Morrowind
Yeah.
are some of the best in the world. They really understand that game's lore and universe and its world and mechanically what makes Morrowind what tick. But the
Right.
content gets to the point where by the time you get even a fraction of the way through it, you're already level 12. And by the time you're level 12 in Morrowind, that's game breaking. Like that is super like
Okay.
you're just destroying everything. And so I finally had to scale that back, but that's part of it. But to tie that back to Baldur's
Mhm.
Gate 3 and the expectation of topping your sequel, you always have that. Like even if fans
Mhm.
don't expect it, you expect to do it as the game maker, right? And
Mhm.
considering that Larian Studios, Sven Vink in particular, is on record as stating that he follows the Ultima trajectory, there is a real danger in running into that Ultima 7, that game you just can't top. That game that
Yeah.
just is literally the world beater. And he never did top it.
Mhm.
Richard Garriott never did top Ultima 7. Not in my opinion, not in the opinion of most people. Once you
Mhm.
get to Ultima 8, it's and once you get to Ultima 9 Pagan, like that game is now ironically enough, Ultima 9 is the precursor to Breath of the Wild in spirit. Go look up the parallels in those
Mm.
two games. It's incredible. So
Okay.
it tells me that um Anuma was also looking at Ultima when he made Breath of the Wild. I can't prove that, but it seems to me pretty
Mhm.
self-evident, honestly. Um, just looking at what was done there. But at the same time, yeah, they never topped Ultima 7. It didn't help that they had EA after Ultima 7. They had EA that
Mm.
basically was gutting the whole fucking company. That doesn't help. And maybe,
Right.
and part of that, I think Sven Vink kind of sees the similar Ultima trajectory with his Baldur's Gate 3 game. So you come in, you work with Wizards of the Coast, you make one of the greatest games ever made, period. And then you watch as Wizards of the Coast fires all of the people who made that game possible. So keep in mind,
Ooh.
Larian Studios is not a Dungeons and Dragons company. They are a video
Mhm.
game company. Sven Vink and Larian Studios worked with hundreds of people who were experts in Dungeons and Dragons, that particular rule set, that particular universe, that were all worked at Wizards of the Coast and were summarily fired after that game came out and made record profits for that company. And they laid off Wizards of the
Damn, that
Coast laid off so
vibes.
many people. So I think part of it, and you can tell Sven Vink was in solidarity with those workers. You can tell. And I don't think
Mhm.
that he particularly cared for the way those workers were thrown out like that. And he's even made
Mhm.
comments. If you follow Sven Vink, he's made comments literally to the tune of, I don't know what they expect out of a sequel. There can't be a Baldur's Gate 3 sequel because the people who helped me make Baldur's Gate 3, the people who made that game happen, a lot of them aren't fucking here anymore, thanks to Wizards of the Coast.
Damn.
So I think moving on something new, I think it's scary for a lot of people. I think it's disappointing
Mhm.
and a letdown to people who wanted more of Baldur's Gate's universe. But I think Larian Studios, whatever they do in the future, whatever they touch, I think it's going to be gold.
Yeah. They have a good head on their shoulders, they have a good team around them, and they have a good idea of what they want a game to be.
Yeah, I slept on it. I hadn't even looked at Baldur's Gate 3 until after it came
And
out.
I'm still
Yeah, I saw all the hype around it after it came out. And I'm like, where the fuck is this
mhm.
coming from? And then I started reading interviews from Sven Vink, and the guy would not
Mhm.
shut the hell up about Ultima. He wouldn't stop talking about it. And that's when I knew. I'm like, oh, that's what it is. This guy carried the Ultima torch forward. This guy kept the Ultima trajectory alive, something that video games hadn't touched since Ultima died. The ambition is back. The ambition and the sense of cohesive world building and the sense of immersive gameplay that
Mhm.
that just like
It's just really cool how, like, everyone can have, like, a different experience with that game. There's not
yes.
one singular same thing. Everyone has a different take. Someone chose this option instead of this. Someone went about this situation a different way. And I think that's what makes it such an interesting and fun game and why so many people gravitate towards it and why they had such a great time with it.
Well, even the gameplay, like, look at what you can do with a simple bottle of water in that game. Look
Mhm.
at all of the things you can throw it to distract. You can drink
Mhm.
the water. You can throw the water down and then use a lightning spell on the water after you've created it.
Yep.
And there's probably six or so. You can use water to put fire out.
Mhm.
Every item in the game is like that. Like
Yep.
it follows that ultimate trajectory so well in that regard. It's it's really good. It's really really good stuff. So let's see here. So okay, so I got my professor ranking, and then I'll have to take a quick break. Won't take too long to go rescue my food from the cold. I think it's here. I only know it through Guinan, who had a specific interpretation of egregore, the idea of collective unconscious. All right, so I got that right. Cool. So I don't consider myself versed enough to rate you, lol. Okay, so you're in the same boat. Maybe a little better boat because you actually knew the spelling and weren't typing in the Ben 10 universe shit. So that's good. Then it says tying that back to anime, Ghost in the Shell standalone complex is a great anime about independent humans acting as a collective entity. Yeah.
Mm.
Ghost in the Shells, and I'm sure you've seen that though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
And the
So
awful live action
yeah.
adaptation.
I
Ugh.
would never deem to tell a fellow anime fan to watch Ghost in the Shell. I think they would consider that insulting. Most anime fans. That's one I don't recommend just because I don't want to insult anybody. I know you've seen it. It's like recommending fucking Akira. Like what? Like, are you serious right now? So Tony says I'm still building myself up to Baldur's Gate 3 since Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were so formative for me in terms of gaming. And I know the experience of Baldur's Gate 3 is going to be entirely different. Not so different as you might think, lore wise. Believe it or not, I really look forward to seeing you because Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were formative for me as well. Right up there with like Ultima. Like, yeah, really formative
Mhm.
in terms of how I view a CRPG, Tony. I've always liked Sven, though, followed him from the days of Divine Divinity. Yep. Sven also started as a lead programmer on his early games, Divine Divinity, Beyond Divinity. Yeah. So, yep, that always helps as well. But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is really good. I actually did a small Let's Play of Baldur's Gate 3, and it's very funny. So I had settled on a character called it was Trogdor the Thunderstrucker. And this was a dragon character that was going to be a lightning mage, and he was going to be like just the baddest dragon in the valley. And so I chose, and because dragons are the way dragons are, they're reptiles, I chose wrong. And so when my character spoke, my dragon had the female voice, and the dragon was named Trogdor. I'm like, oh no! I'm like, oh shoot! But you know what? I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. All right, she's gonna be awesome,
Do it. Roll
Trogdor.
with it.
Yep, Trogdor, awesome. So I rolled with it. Now it's an awesome character I need to get back to. But it was so funny. Like everybody in the chat was rolling because I'm like, oh yeah, okay, let's get this dragon, and he's gonna be lightning, and he's gonna be ripped, and he's gonna be buff, and then put it in there. Oh, okay. I'm like, oh no. You know what? Fuck it. Let's roll with it, man. So Tony laughed. Yeah, it was a funny moment. It was very funny. I had this moment of like, oh no, I botched my character, and then I had this moment of like, you know what? Fuck it, man. um, I am watching the Kentucky play ball right now. If anybody wanted to know, yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, I was, I had, I was monitoring Illinois' score a little bit. Again, being an Illinois boy, seeing how U of I, and he has that basketball. Yes, yes. And hopefully Illinois does a little bit better this year than they did last year, Brooke. But I don't know. We'll have to see, for sure. So I'm gonna take a quick break. Feji, if you want to talk to the channel and know anything while I'm gone, this won't take too long. Literally just going to go grab my food because I don't want my cutlet getting cold. Nobody like a cold cutlet is a sad pork cutlet. So, yep,
That's true.
I'll be back. Won't take long. Hiatus, brief hiatus.
I hope everyone is having a great Friday's Eve. I always like to call Thursdays Friday's Eve because Thursday's boring. Friday's Eve's more fun. What's everyone playing too? Would love to know. No, I'm not the party here. He's gone, yeah, but he'll be back. Yeah, I really need to get back into Baldur's Gate 3. I definitely need to get back into it. But that game is such a long, long investment. I know people put in at least like 100 to 150, maybe even 200 hours. Very happy. It's Friday's Eve. I'm installing. Oh yeah, Dragon's Dogma comes out tomorrow. Oh man. I want to get into that. I want to see how the reviews are and see how everyone else that I know is playing it before I get into it because I know that I feel like if I get into it, I'll get into it and won't play anything else. Hour and a half. I know install times are so long these days. I remember I was like that when I wanted to play Future Redeemed, Xenoblade Chronicles Future Redeemed. I was so excited to play it the day it was released. That thing took forever to download. So I ended up being like, you know what? I guess I'll just have to wait.
All right. I'm back here.
Oh,
So
hello.
a little bit of a change of plans. So again, my fault, but it looks like I didn't get my pork curry cutlet.
Aw.
That's the bad news. The good news is I must have hit reorder on the wrong thing because I actually ended up with Benachin and plantains. So that's also very tasty. So
Nice.
I must have reordered the wrong thing, but we're gonna have a little bit of cross cultural fusion. Japanese whiskey with Benachin and plantain. I'm happy with this. I'm very happy with this. I guess we'll eat vegetarian twice this week. So not too bad. Not too bad for a carnivore. Girlfriend be proud. Um, and then yes, Brooke saying yes, basketball. Then Luigi's Mansion 3, which is yeah, I did a review of Luigi's Mansion 3. I was very impressed by that game. Very impressed by that game. That game is still one of the
Nice.
best looking games on the Switch, bar none. Like,
Yeah, it really is. It's stunning. And I think that came out, what, a year after the Switch has been out? I think
a
a year
year
or
or
two?
two. Yeah, 2018, I think it was. So
Yeah.
maybe 2 years after. But yeah, it was really good. Halloween, really good Halloween game too. Oh my gosh, it
Mhm.
smells so good. So now, not Luigi's Mansion 3, Chad. So I don't want to get everybody crying. I don't know how that smells, but this Benachin smells really good. I'm very happy it's Friday Eve. Tony says I'm installing Dragon's Dogma 2. You're gonna have to tell me how that is, Tony. That's another game I'm a little jelly of modern consoles of. That's one that
Mhm.
seems really, really cool, along with Final Fantasy Rebirth, which Mandy says she's still on. So those are
Yeah,
two
it's gonna be a
games.
while for me to get to that.
Those are two games I really want to play it. And I might have to bite the fucking bullet on Dragon's Dogma 2 and just get it on PC. But I'm telling you, the
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 is slowly but surely starting to have some appeal to me. Gotta tell you.
And to think they said that we're already at the almost at the end of its lifespan. I'm like, "What do you mean?
Let's
The
talk
games are
about
starting to finally get good." Like, what is
yeah.
that about?
So Sony's in a mess right now. Um, a
Yeah,
lot
they're
of people,
scrambling.
well, a lot of people don't understand that what happened behind the scenes with Sony. So Sony behind the scenes has spent like almost $3 trillion. Believe it or not,
Mm.
like T that's with a T, trillion. And the reason they did that is basically they're revamping all their corporate headquarters and shit. It's infrastructure spending. It's facility layout and
Yeah.
infrastructure spending. And with a company that big, I mean, it's caught up to them. So that's hitting them at the same time as the PS5 is not bringing home the bacon they wanted it to bring home. And the combination
Mhm.
is just yielding havoc with the company right now. That's and
Yeah.
again, that's an opinion. I'm not a board member. I don't have an inside
Mhm.
view, but from the looks of it, I know that if you're spending that much money, if you're plunking down that much capital, you're borrowing that much money, and then you have what's going on with the PlayStation 5, I think they're probably going to early eject from this generation. It seems like it's been a bust for everybody
Yeah.
but Nintendo, honestly. You know,
Yeah. Nintendo's not in any rush. They're like, we'll take our
no,
sweet time.
Nintendo. Remember what I said, Feji. 2025. Remember,
Yep.
I've held almost firm on that with one exception. Um, and that was just because Wonder and Tears of the Kingdom didn't bring home the bacon I thought they'd bring home. So I thought that might rush
Mhm.
investors into bringing out the system because the system's done. I hope this isn't news to anybody. The new system's done. With Nintendo,
Yeah, they're
yes.
just kind of sitting on it.
Yep. With Nintendo, it's always a software bottleneck. That's what screwed him with the GameCube, by the way. System was done. If you watch Matt
Mhm.
McMuscle's "What Happened" series, he talks about what happened with the GameCube, and I can confirm. Basically, what ended up happening with the GameCube is it had the hardware was ready, but there was no software. The software is always the bottleneck with
Yeah.
Nintendo, always the bottleneck. And so Nintendo is hoping to avoid that with this new system. And that's why I
Mhm.
said there's no way they're bringing a system out or intending to in 2024. If they were going to do that, why the fuck would they have brought Splatoon 2 out in 2022 at the tail end, which is a game that's going to have 5 years
Yeah.
of active support? It's a live service game, and then follow that up with the sequel to Breath of the Wild and a brand new 2D Mario
Mhm.
game. That does not. That's
Exactly. So
not a
they're just
company.
like,
Yeah,
what's gonna happen next?
yeah, not a company that acts like they're getting ready to rush to a new system. If you're going to put out a new system in
Mm.
2024, all three of those games could be Switch 2 games, or it could be whatever Nintendo's
Yeah.
next system.
Easily.
All three. So there's no reason to put those on
I'm
the
curious
Switch.
I'm curious as to what you think might be launch titles for the new Switch.
I think we're gonna get a Mario Kart of some kind. Now,
Mhm.
here's the thing though. I don't think Mario Kart is gonna be the system seller they think it's gonna be.
Yeah, because
Um,
Mario, what's it, 8 Deluxe? It's kind of like has everything.
hot take, nuclear take coming in, everybody. I don't know that Mario Kart,
Ooh.
in and of itself, is the system seller everybody thinks it is on Switch. Now, you're going to say, Zoo, that's a crazy comment. Look at the sales. Yeah, look at the
I
sales.
don't know, I kind of agree with you.
Do you? Okay. Well, here's what I mean by that.
Yeah, I just think yeah.
It's the game that everybody gets when they get their Switch. It's not
Mhm.
necessarily the game that sells the Switch. The game that sold
Yeah,
the
it's not like
Switch
pushing people to get it.
was Breath of the Wild and then Mario Odyssey, believe it or not. Actually.
Exactly. Mhm.
And I say that with great hesitance. And the reason why is because I am a 2D Mario fan, and I hate giving
Mhm.
3D Mario any fucking credit whatsoever for system sales. But I'm not going to lie to my viewers. Mario Odyssey, Rush Dog and I broke down the math, had a 50%
Mhm.
attach rate during that 2017 holiday. People were buying that when they bought the Switch. Now, people
Mhm.
also buy Mario Kart, and I'm not saying that Mario Kart is 100% not a system seller. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that did buy it for that. But by and large,
Mhm.
I don't think the data, and that's what I'm very data driven. When I look at the data, it's not clear to me. I'll say that. It's not clear to me that Mario Kart is the reason why everybody bought those systems.
Mhm.
I think
I
the
feel like for
data,
me,
yeah.
Mario Kart just comes along with it because like, Wii Sports sold crazy, but no one's buying a Wii just
Yes, they did.
I mean,
Yes, they did.
yeah, because I feel like yeah.
They
And,
did.
like, I was wait a minute, I think they did.
No, I
What am I
promise
talking
you,
about? They
I
did.
was there for that one. I promise you they did. Wii Sports was a $300 Switch game. That's the joke I tell her.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, $250 Switch game. Getting my prices mixed up. Now, people always say, well, Zoo, it only sold that because it was a pack-in game. That's why it sold that.
But then again, like, it's a good game to, like, just like,
It is, and
it really utilize the Wii's
well, and
mechanics.
I turn it on people when they say that. It's like, well, it only sold that. Mario only sold 2D Mario only sold so it was a pack-in game. Wii Sports only sold so it was a pack-in game. Sonic was a pack-in game. I'm like, okay, now let's turn that on its head. They bought the system for that game. So that game was a
Mhm.
$199 game. That was a $150 game. That was a $250 game in the Switch. So let's turn that
Mhm.
on its fucking head. That was the system you bought to get to Mario. That was the system you bought to get to Sonic. or Wii Sports.
Yeah.
All I'm saying with Mario Kart is it's not clear to me that that's the game that people bought the system for. I feel like the game that people bought the system for was Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Odyssey, at least in that first year.
Mhm.
I think Animal Crossing,
Yeah.
believe it or not, was a system seller.
That was for me. That was the one that pushed
Mhm.
me to get the Switch because I was kind of apprehensive because I honestly thought the Switch, "Oh, is this a Wii U all over again?" I don't know. It's another accessory, like I don't know because I feel like when the Switch came out, there was kind of a lot of I don't know if
Sure,
I'm the only one, but there's, like not that
sure.
the trust was gone, but I was just like, I don't know if, like, what's it all about? But with Animal Crossing, I think Animal Crossing New Horizons just came out at the right time at the right place.
It was
Everyone
lightning in
was
a
at
bottle,
home.
man. Yeah.
It was the perfect timing, like, you're stuck at home, you can't really talk with your friends, "Well, let me just pull up my Switch, get Animal Crossing." Ended up hanging out with my friends on their islands that I couldn't see
Uh-huh.
for months because we were social distancing, and it was the perfect thing.
Isn't
And
it?
it now is one of the best-selling Switches games of all time,
I
and the
feel like,
best Animal Crossing game of all time.
oh yeah, like literally up there, like right up there, neck and neck with like Smash and Mario Kart. I couldn't tell you which one is tops, but all three of those
Mhm.
games are like fighting with each other.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
the data's there. Like you can see the spike in Switch sales in 2020. You can see it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now, isn't that interesting that at the same time that Switch is capturing lightning in a bottle with Animal Crossing, the other two console makers are literally dumping and decide, you know what? Let's launch a brand new system in the middle of a pandemic and a hardware shortage.
I know.
What could go wrong?
Oh god, everything.
Business acumen. Oh my God. Like, I'm not saying I'm the best executive on the planet, Feji. I'm not making that claim. I've never worked in video games industry ever. Not in
Mhm.
an executive leadership role. But I could have fucking told him that.
Yeah, and then they had the other thing to make I think Sony are like, "Yeah, we're not gonna make it, backwards compatible, or we're gonna stop support of that not backwards
Oh,
compatible, we're not gonna, continue support with PS4 games." Why would you do that? And they obviously had to backtrack on that because it
yeah.
wasn't good.
Well, and then the PlayStation 4 is still the system that everybody has. That was an immensely successful system. I don't
Mhm,
think.
and they're still making games for it.
Yes. Well, yeah, and because it's the one everybody has. Like
Mhm.
we've watched what happens with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Nobody bought that fucking game.
Yeah,
Like,
because they don't really have anything to play it on.
yeah, if that game was also on the PS4, it would sell. I was shocked. I was absolutely
Or not even
shocked.
PC. Yeah.
Compared to
Well, PC is gonna be down the line, but
PC will be down the line, but compared to Final Fantasy VII remake sales, which are the best in the
yeah.
series, bar none, the whole series,
Mhm.
like it's not even close. I was pretty shocked at how tepid Rebirth did. For
Yeah,
all,
now I'm really curious as to how the 3rd one is gonna do.
well, for all intents, well, the third one has a better chance if it comes out on the PS5 of actually having an install
Mhm.
base to launch to. I think that's the big problem. I don't think it's seven as a game.
Right.
I don't think seven did anything wrong.
Right.
I just feel like it launched on a system that doesn't have that install base. Because I've said this before, and I think seven proves it to me. I've said this for a long time,
Mhm.
Feji, that I actually think that the scalping problem was never solved with PlayStation. I think a
Yeah.
massive amount of those systems is still in the hands of resellers,
Oh, absolutely.
and resellers don't buy software. So there's that. Now, in terms of so Mario Kart is one I think they're going to try to put out. The problem with
Mhm.
Mario Kart is I don't know what the hell they have to do to make the people who are playing Mario Kart 8 upgrade to Mario
Wanna
Kart
play this
9.
one. Yeah.
I think that's going to be a very hard sell. I think you've absolutely shattered the good enough ceiling on Mario Kart 8. I think that game is
Yeah,
good
that's how I
enough
feel
for
about
most folks.
Smash.
Smash the same thing. Same problem, Fedgy.
Yeah, 'cause, like,
What the
I
fuck do
don't
you
know what
do?
they're gonna do.
What do you do?
Just I
What
think
do
at
you
that
do?
point, you just port it. It's like, you've already had everything that you could think of. Every character known to man, I feel like, is on that game. What else could you do?
I don't know. I maybe repackage it with an actual damn story mode. I don't know.
Could be a
I
possibility.
don't think that moves most people on though. That's the problem. So okay. So
Mhm.
Smash, Kart, sure, but Don't know if that don't know if that moves all the Switch customers to your new system. That's the problem.
Yeah,
3D
but
Mario,
definitely new Animal Crossing will.
the new Animal Crossing will definitely.
Mhm.
I think the new Animal Crossing will. I don't think it's ready for launch. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think it's probably gonna be a year or 2 out after the new console is out,
So Metroid
which
Prime
is kind
4,
of upsetting. Yeah. Oh, yes!
but
That's been in
it doesn't sell.
development hell for
But
so
it's never
long.
sold systems. Metroid barely sells
No.
software. It barely sells software, let alone hardware. So that's not going to work.
But that yeah,
3D
else is
Mario,
there.
a new 3D Mario game.
Mhm. For sure.
Before I would laugh at and say that doesn't 3D Mario's never fucking sold hardware before. What the fuck are you talking about? Get out of here with that. But post Odyssey, 3D
Mhm.
Mario finally proved that it could sell hardware. So maybe a 3D
Yeah.
Mario game gets them out the gate. I do think you'll see that day one. I think that they've got to have
Mhm.
that day one. They're not going to have a Zelda. Zelda team's not ready with what I promise. They're not ready. It's not going to be 2D Mario, which
No.
again, that's the game you launch a system with is 2D Mario rather than 3D. But they've already blown their wad on
Mm.
that. That's done. So
Right.
I don't know. I think they're in a jam as far as software goes. I think they're in a real jam. Yeah,
Yeah, but what I've learned, I feel like, with the Switch is that they've definitely allowed their main, like, first party games to grow a bit and grow more of the fan base. Like, I feel like Xenoblade Chronicles series has grown a
yes.
lot from the Switch. Fire Emblem has grown a lot from the Switch.
Hmm.
So, I'm really curious as to how that will translate when the new console comes out. Will those fans who really loved the series from the Switch will still carry on to the new one? 'Cause those definitely grew a lot.
Oh, for sure. Look at Pikmin that came into its own. Look at Luigi's Mansion that
Exactly.
came into its own. 12
Mhm.
million for Luigi's Mansion, 4 million for Pikmin. For Pikmin, 4 million.
Yeah.
Uh yeah, I think there's a real case to be made that maybe some of these other franchises kind of carry the day. Collectively, they're not going to sell tons of
Mhm.
hardware, but each one of those franchises
Yeah.
does have a large dedicated fan base that might pitch in as those games become available. I think there's a
Mhm.
possibility there that maybe we're missing something. And here's the thing that Nintendo's also proven: maybe the next system seller is a game that doesn't even exist yet.
Yeah. That's
Maybe
true. We
it's
could just surprise us, be
maybe
like,
it's a
"New
brand new
IP."
game, new IP.
Mhm.
Maybe it's a brand new game. So if anybody can get it done, it's Nintendo. But I'm very interested to see what they do. Now I'm going to throw another prediction out. Super Princess Peach comes out tomorrow.
Oh my god, that
I
is god.
I think
So
that
much is
game
there's what? Mhm.
is going to be a world beater. I think that game was going to sell
Really?
mondo sales. Yeah, just a hunch. I don't
Interesting.
have any data to go off of. It's just a hunch. I think Mario characters do very, very well,
Mhm.
and I think Princess
Especially with
Peach,
Princess Peach, it's been a
yes,
while.
and her getting a gameplay identity that isn't whatever the hell that other game was, which I'm sure it was fun, but it was also more of a
Mhm.
platform. Like, this is an actual gameplay identity for Princess Peach,
Yeah.
which she's been missing. Luigi got it with Luigi's Mansion. Toad got it with
Mhm.
Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker.
Yep.
Peach finally got a
Crazy how Toad got a game before.
everybody got a game before
Before
Peach.
Peach.
Don't think we didn't notice Nintendo.
That's hilarious.
But better late than never. And I do think this one's going to do well.
Mhm.
It also
Yeah,
seems
so
very family
tomorrow
friendly.
there's yeah, tomorrow's a stacked day. There's Princess Peach,
Uh-huh.
Dragon's Dogma, and then I think Rise of the Ronin as well.
Yeah, Rise of the Ronin is getting so. I know that on Player Essence, OJ was talking about like the reaction to that game. People like mean mugging the
Mhm.
graphics and shit. It looks fine to me. It looks fine.
Yeah, it looks fine to me.
I don't think right.
I
Well,
think it'll be buried for sure, though.
yeah, I
The
don't
Dragon's
think.
Dogma and Princess Peach.
Yeah, bad timing. Bad timing for sure.
Mhm.
Um, I definitely think there's bad timing there, 100%. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what the rest of the Switch year brings. I will tell you this: if they're not launching a system in 2024, we need something, Nintendo. We're gonna
Yeah,
need
because what
more than
else do we have this year?
we got nothing.
It's
We
Princess
got
Peach's Paper Mario, and
Thousand
that's
Year
what, the
Door.
summer, right?
Yep, Thousand Year Door this summer.
And that's it. I think that's the and then Luigi's Mansion
We
this
got
summer, I
what
think, as
most
well,
people
or
call the,
fall.
and again, no judgment here, but we have what most people call the worst Luigi's Mansion game,
That's what I've heard.
and we have the diving game,
And that's it.
and that's it. So
There's
if they're
really nothing. It's pretty bare.
if they're not putting the system out in 2024,
It's most definitely
we
next
need,
year.
well, it'll definitely be, well, yeah, I've called 2025 from the start, but
Mhm.
I think here's the thing, and this is what ties into my earlier arguments.
Mhm.
I do think that we're not going to get much beyond this. I think that Tears of the Kingdom and Mario Wonder were supposed to carry this year.
Mm.
I think Nintendo thought
Not
that those
last
were
year?
well, theoretically, the sequel to Breath of the Wild and a 2D Mario game, a brand new 2D Mario game, not in the new engine, should
Mhm.
be able to carry 2 years.
Yeah.
But it's not happening. That's the thing.
Yeah, people are kinda just forgetting about it.
Tears of the Kingdom hit a brick wall at 20 million. Just hit a wall. Very front loaded. Hell, it hit a wall at around
Mhm.
16 million. Just hit a wall. People stopped talking
And
about
then
it.
they also didn't plan to do DLC for it either, so it's just kinda just
They
there.
just they just they just hit the exit button on that. And I kind of
Mhm.
feel the same thing is happening to Wonder. For
Yeah.
reasons I'm going to explain in a future review, I don't think Wonder resonated as well as they thought it was going to. And as a
Mhm.
2D Mario fan, I can tell you it's a good game. Just like Tears of the Kingdom's a good game. Does it scratch that 2D Mario itch even as well as New Super did? Nope,
Yep.
sure doesn't.
Ugh,
Didn't as a
it's
2D
rough.
as a game, I liked it. As a fan of 2D
Mhm.
Mario, it did not impress me.
Yeah, it didn't hit.
Nope. And I give the example, and people are like, "Well, what do you mean, Sue? What do you mean by that?" Well, I tell them I want you to do an experiment for me. I want you to go and Google search
Mhm.
a bullet bill from Mario World. Now I want you to go search a video that shows the movement and momentum of a bullet bill in Mario Wonder, and tell me if you can't spot the problem there. The bullet bill in Mario Wonder moves about 30% slower.
Oh.
You would have to literally try to get clipped by a bullet bill in Mario Wonder. You would have to try. Whereas there's a very real chance of you getting popped
Mhm.
and your game ending by getting hit by a bullet bill in Mario World or Mario 3. There's a
Mhm.
momentum and speed in the early 2D Mario games, that tactile arcade feel, that just haven't been there since the new series.
Okay.
Now, have you played Wonder?
I haven't, to be honest. This may sound blasphemous, but I'm not,
It
like, the
doesn't, I promise.
hugest Mario fan,
Not
and the
blasphemous at all.
I grew up with it, but I don't, like, gravitate towards it, so I haven't played it. I'll probably pick it up when it's, like, a little bit discounted, but that's gonna be rare 'cause, first party Nintendo games rarely ever get discounted.
Yeah,
But when they do, I'll probably pick it up then.
right.
It looks really interesting, but, like,
Well, coming in it
I don't know.
from a non-fan, you might actually appreciate it more than I did. I will tell you that. It's
Okay.
really compelling,
Okay.
and it's the things it does are really interesting, actually. So, coming at
Mhm.
it from somebody who hasn't like lived and breathed these games every single time one comes out, I could see a lot of
Right.
people, and there are a lot of people like this is the best 2D Mario ever. Like they
Oh.
definitely say that. I don't agree, and I'm going to lay out in detail why future review. But
Mhm.
um, yeah, it just lacks the momentum I expected in 2D Mario. It lacks the difficulty. It has the
Right.
polish and it has the world building. The Flower Kingdom is a legitimately wonderful place to have a Mario game. Like there are
Mhm.
real advances compared to the new series that Wonder has. But yeah, I still find it to be wanting.
Mhm. Okay.
So it will be done in an hour and a half, talking about the 33% load time on. That is something I don't like about modern games, and it's why I really don't like downloadable games. That's part of why.
Yeah.
So look at it this way, Tony. Every game since the NES, I can literally flip my NES switch and the game boots up. Boom. It's there. Now, yeah. Sometimes you gotta blow in the cartridge. Sometimes you gotta fiddle with the cartridge a little bit. But in theory, you can literally turn the system on and boom, there's your start screen. You're there. Now go to the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis era. Okay, same thing. You flip the switch, game boots up immediately. No load times, no shit. But now you've got some logos. Oh, here's some side companies. Here's the company that did the graphics. Here's Nintendo Presents before I get to my Mario World game. I hate that little coin screen that says Nintendo Presents. I know who's presenting. Get me to the fucking title screen. Then you get to the N64 and the PlayStation. Now PlayStation's adding the load times. N64, more logos in the way of your games. Now you get to the next generation, the DVD player and the Xbox and the GameCube. Now you've got a menu screen to navigate to get to your games. Now you got the 360. Now you're starting to download games, and now there's updates on the system you've got to download every time you turn the fucking system on. And see, every generation, there's more bullshit in the way between you and getting to your video game. And don't think I haven't noticed this bullshit. Like I have. And it does weigh on me. Even the Switch, like, is the Switch as snappy as the NES? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it's snappier than a lot of these games where it's like update. Every time I turn the system or game on, it's like, fuck. Do you ever feel that, or is it just me?
No, I get that. I'd like download times are kind of like, especially with the whole like, oh, you had to download this before you actually play the game.
Ugh.
I want to just play the game. That's all. I already paid for it. Why do I need to do all this, that, and the third?
So sometimes you just want to flip that system on and start playing.
Yeah, that's it. Especially to a long day, you just want to play this game. That's all.
I'll never forget. It was Dark Souls 3. I think it was a day one update on PS3. I'll never forget booting up Dark Souls 3, and I was so excited to play it before I went to work.
Right.
And update. It's like, and 45 minutes. Like, well, I guess I'll be doing that later. Because, so Tony said he accidentally got the cork purry cutlet. That's just a Jim's joke for you. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. Strong Just the Jim's vibes. I love Just the Jim's Twitter jokes.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love Just the Jim's dad humor. It's the best. Like, yeah, he's got great stuff. I don't care what anybody says. Yeah. Brandon, I don't care what anybody says about you. Your dad jokes are the best dad jokes. So, Herbology says new Animal Crossing for a 2025 Switch 2 system seller. Yeah, possibly. Yeah, we're talking about that because when it drops, it's going to drop. I just don't know if it's going to be ready in time for a new Switch. I guess it depends on how long they take. Could be. I mean, you never know. Tony says I need help resisting the Switch 2 until the Switch 2 Pro comes out. Yeah, that's the joke I always make, Tony. You got like Nintendo Prime and RGT85. Like literally, I tell them, hey, every time I told RGT, I told him, I said, that's another 3 days every time you make a video on this. So everybody thank RGT85 and Nintendo Prime for the delay of the Switch 2. It's their fucking fault. Then Emily says, same Temperate Thomas. Yeah. Yeah, when the new system, guys, when the new system comes out, the new system comes out. Like, it is what it is. Like, again, you can be like Nintendo Prime and make 3 videos a day. It ain't gonna make it get here any faster. And again, love Nintendo Prime, love the homie, but you know what you're doing, man. you know what you're doing. Let's see, I got the Switch for Pokemon back in 2018. Pokemon, ooh, but no, because Pokemon's also coming to the Switch, the next Legends game. And it's just like, son of a bitch. All these games that could be used.
It's coming out 2025, though.
2025 on the Switch.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It didn't specify. So, like, it could come out on the new one for all we know.
Did they not specify?
It's just 2025. There's no window of, like, year or, like, the season, so
But
it's just, like, it could
but
be
they didn't specify systems?
I mean, I have a feeling it might be one of those where it might be, like, backwards compatible or not backwards compatible, where they'll have
Definitely.
maybe a so, I don't know. I definitely could see it. Oh, yeah, Nintendo Switch systems. Okay, systems.
Systems, they said. Okay.
Yeah.
Which again, that could be
So
the current Switch family,
and it could be anything.
but it could
Yeah,
also be,
so
yeah,
who knows?
systems tells me they would be, if they're putting a system out in 2025, they would be fucking stupid not to bring that,
Mhm.
also that Pokemon game. Because yeah, Emily's right.
Yeah.
Pokemon, absolutely. And at the end of the day, so that is a great thing. Um, let's see. Who said the Pokemon comment? Who was that? Or no, that was Brooke who said that. So Brooke makes an excellent point. When a Pokemon, any Nintendo system that has a Pokemon on it will ultimately be okay. It'll be all right
Yeah.
because Pokemon just sells. So yeah, no matter what happens, when Pokemon comes out, yep, that'll get everything going.
Mhm.
So Orbology says, or a pretty limited edition system for one of my top franchises. Yeah, that gets me too, Emily. That,
That's
that's
true.
yeah, that's a system seller all its own. Without, and it kind of, in a way, it's funny because I always like to say that the console is only it's the box we buy to get to the software. But that's not always the case in some of those really fancy, nice looking systems.
Yeah, like, I really loved the Animal Crossing edition. I was like, "I
Oh,
have to get
isn't
it."
it so adorable?
It's really
I
nice.
have
It's
one
so
too, just
nice.
because of how I love the vibes of it. So I have one too, just
Mhm.
because of how vibing that system is.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I couldn't. It's like, man, and that was stupid expensive for a while, by the way. I
And it
think
was
it came.
hard to get.
I think it
It
came
was
down,
so
but
hard to
yeah.
get.
So Tony says, I've never gotten a limited edition system since I have a base version. I can't convince myself the value proposition is worth it. And most of the time, I'm the
It's
same
totally
way.
valid.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And most of the time, I'm the same way. But every once in a while, there's that really system. You know what I miss? I miss the clear see-through systems, like in
Oh,
like all the hot
yeah.
colors and like they have yeah, those were cool.
You should
But
bring that back.
there's like 100 N64 variants. My only chance is to wait. And then Emily says that's
Yeah,
why I
the
try to
long
be
game.
patient, play the long game. Exactly. And she says, though I have a feeling there may be a lot of external pressures to give in to the first model. Keithius says, welcome in, Keithius. So good to see you, man. I think Nintendo has at least 5 more games this year that they haven't announced yet. I hope so.
'Cause we still have E3 and the or not E3, but, like, the summertime
It'll
when they
be
have
it'll
a
be the
direct,
summer
and then
E3 season. We'll never stop calling it
yeah.
that. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
And
all
then they have one in September, so they have to have something, I hope.
right.
'Cause we had a partner was the first one was the first one in the direct of the year was a partner one, so they have to have at least one main Nintendo direct this year.
Right. Yeah, you'd think they would. You'd think they'd have to, because that was a
Mhm.
partner direct, so at least one mainline. Question is it
Yeah.
going to be a software direct or is it going to be a hardware direct? And I really do, because
I don't know.
I don't want the Switch to end on such a whimper. If I'm being honest, I really want,
Mhm.
give us one more banger of a year, Nintendo. Come on, and honestly, they can do it
Yeah.
with Prime 4. Like, just show Prime 4,
Yeah, and everyone would honestly would be like, "Okay, we're good. I'm good with that."
or again, at the risk of the clown sitting on the bench emoji, we could also get Silk Song at some point. Poor Allie.
Yeah. I would love another Fire Emblem, like, remake. I would love
I
that.
hear Genealogy of the Holy War. Me and Emily were talking
I
about
would
that
love
last
it.
time. I
I'd
know
love to
you would.
see it.
Have you had a chance to play Genealogy of the Whole? I remember playing that on a
I
reproduction.
haven't. That's why I would love to
It's
get
good.
to, like, the
It's
remake.
it's real good. It's real good.
Yeah.
Um, and then yeah, Emily also pointed out they said Nintendo Switch systems. Yes, they did.
Mhm.
And then the end of the 3DS was kind of sad. So many great games overlooked by the masses. And then Nintendo
Yeah,
may
because
be
I think
trying to avoid that. Yeah. Yep. You were saying something they think that.
but yeah, I was just thinking that, like, where did my train of thought go? Dang it, I think it just escaped me.
I know
'Cause I
that
think
feeling.
yeah, with the 3DS, like, they were, like, still supporting it maybe, what, a year after the Switch? Not a year, maybe the first year that the Switch was out, but then after that, they just kinda like,
They
"Okay,
dropped
that's
it.
kind of a dead system now."
Well,
So
and I think people forget the context of the 3DS, as good as a system as that was. That system
mhm,
was a burning platform. That system was literally a burning platform when it started. That system was
mhm,
doing very badly because of the 3D that wasn't really valued by most folks. It was
yeah,
it just was an expensive sync to the system, and it really wasn't until a few years in that they really were able to right that ship just by flooding it with hardware. I think they kind of gave up on the Wii U and they focused entirely on the DS, and I think they were able to right the ship that way. It's also funny to
yeah.
me that the 2DS is still selling systems, which I laugh every time I see that in Japan. There's
It's a
like
good system.
yeah, the slate design's really cool, and like literally every
Mhm,
time, every single freaking time, you have it was like 12, 25 2DSs that sell as part of like the Japan sales. Like I just want to see it
right.
one time. I
I
want to
mean,
see the 2DS outperform the PS5 or the Xbox. Or not, it won't.
still have mine, like, sitting around here.
Oh, the slate. There it is. I always liked the slate design. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah,
I especially for like younger kids too. Like you could buy the slate for your kids
mhm,
because it's harder to break. You know, it's one
yeah,
singular. Yeah, it's one slate design instead of that hinge system. So I thought that was pretty cool.
mhm,
Then Keithia says, I think Nintendo still wants to sell consoles and games this year. Yeah, I do too. Of course they do, but they're gonna need more than the diver game and
yeah,
and a
I'm
Paper
kind of
Mario
whatever about
title.
that one.
And a Paper Mario title. I shit on Endless Ocean. Endless Ocean's fun. It's a cozy game player.
Mhm,
You'll love it, but
yeah,
it's not gonna sell consoles for sure. It's
mhm,
absolutely
yeah, it's
there's
not gonna
not
move
one fucking
anything.
person that's gonna buy that. So recyclable Psy, welcome in Psy. Love seeing you here, man. Too much K-pop on the brain. So that's one subject I didn't get into with Emily. I am what you call a K-pop neophyte, so I don't know shit about it.
Okay,
But at the same time, I do like what I hear. So I know what I like when I
yeah,
listen to music, but I'm not
mm,
I often feel like I missed an entire world by not learning how to read music, first of all. I can only
aw,
there's a fantastic book called On Walking, Alexis Horowitz. You would
mhm,
love this. I think we've talked about it actually. And the entire
mm,
premise of the book is she takes a walk around one New York block, and what she does is she walks around with different experts. So she'll walk the block with an
mhm,
entomologist, an architect, a
okay,
person who's a sociologist, a child,
mhm,
a musician, somebody who writes and reads music. And basically, she just
right,
listens to them point out the different things that they see as they walk around the block or hear or experience.
mhm,
And it's just a great book to show you that every person comes from a different background, and that background and their knowledge pool entails all of it basically shows that each person has a world within themselves. And so she walked around the
right.
same block 12 times, but Feji, she also walked around 12 different blocks,
Oh, wow,
basically, because that's the
okay,
thing. Like, even though it was the same block, 12 different people with 12 different academic backgrounds were able
right,
to point out
mhm,
entirely different experiences in that one block.
exactly.
Very,
That's
very
so
cool.
cool.
And so I feel that way about music. I appreciate music
Mhm,
and I feel like I know good music, but I'm not one who could break down why that music is good or why I'm drawn to that music. Um,
mm.
have you played Shin Megami Tensei 5?
I haven't. I'm kind of, like, on the fence
Okay.
on getting into it because, like, I love story, and I heard the story isn't that great in this one. I have
No,
SMT4 that I wanna play, so I'm
but
kind of
again,
apprehensive. I'm hoping the re-release that's coming out in June will hopefully make it better, so who
I'm
knows?
prejudiced based because my first Shin Megami Tensei game was Shin Megami Tensei 3. And that story to
Mhm.
me was like a life-changing story. I'm not even kidding.
Right.
It was incredible. And I will defend that game story to the death. I found the story on 5 to be anemic in comparison, personally.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the environment I feel like tells the story, right? So
Right.
it's a game I appreciate from its environment and its use of music. There's one scene where you've been trekking through Tokyo, and I won't spoil it, but there's
Mhm.
a song called the Fairy Village song. And if you get a chance, Google
Mhm.
that song, Fairy Village, Shin
Okay.
Megami Tensei 5. I can't tell you why that's a good song, but I can tell you that that's one of the best gaming moments I've experienced on the entire Switch. Just that moment of
Ooh.
getting to the fairy village and the moment that music kicks in. And I just had to put my controller down and just take it in for a second.
I love when that happens. It's always a good time.
Yeah, I had to. And so that's an experience. I can't tell you why that happened, but I can tell you it happened. And I'm kind of the same way with
Mhm.
K-pop in particular. It's a brand new music genre for me. And so if you have any
Right.
recommendations, definitely like DM them over or shoot them
Ah,
over in the Discord, and I'll listen. I'll
will
definitely take a look
do.
because I think it's a very vibrant genre, and I think there's a lot
Mhm.
to appreciate in there. But I just
Yeah,
I,
there's
I
a
would
lot of good stuff.
I would need a good grounding to be more confident in talking. But yeah, on a future discussion with you or a future discussion with Emily, I will probably be more of a person that you can talk K-pop with because it is one I'm exploring. Because I see it so damn much in Jay's Discord, the Cold Knights Discord.
Yeah, we're always
Oh
posting
my
on there.
god, yeah, and,
Here's
and
a
I
new
just
song, here's a new song.
and I just feel like I'm sitting here like all this great K-pop discussion between Psy and you and Emily, and here I am, a moron gross in Springfield. I'm just like, I like turtles, like so. No, no, not your band, not at all, Cy. I absolutely I it's something I want to grow to appreciate more of. What I've listened to, I really love it. But it just goes to show you we all come from different backgrounds, and it's such a wide,
Mhm.
massive world that full of things to appreciate. So no, not your bad at all. I absolutely someone play him on the bus. So what's going to happen with K-pop is what happened with me with Japanese jazz that I was inspired by.
Uh,
And I got into Japanese jazz.
That's a good one. I love city pop too.
Yeah, like what was it? Oh gosh, I can't think of the top of my head, too drunk. But yeah, there's some absolutely bangers that are Japanese jazz. And basically I'm gonna hear that
Mhm.
K-pop song that takes me on that fucking journey. That's what's
Yes.
gonna happen. Oh, Japanese jazz fusion is so good. Yeah, actually let me pull up my
Mhm.
current playlist because that's what I've been give me 1 second here.
Yeah, there's a whole world out there for you for K-pop.
1 second here. Let's take a moment. I don't know where anything is on this fucking computer. There it is. Okay. Okay, so my current playlist as I go to for work tomorrow. So if any of these ring a bell, if not, you should look them up. Um, uh, uh, Tokonoma Relive, Quasimode Fingertip, Bohemian Voodoo, Adria Blue, Fox Capture Plan Butterfly Effect, Mouse on Keys
Mhm.
Leviathan is kind of the start to my
Okay.
day. So
Nice.
100%. That's all Japanese jazz scene, all of that, and it's so good. So K-pop, I am going to hear a K-pop song. Maybe play him on the bus, maybe on the bus that takes me on a fucking ride, and I won't get off. That's what will happen.
We
So
welcome you.
yeah, 100%. So Tony says, just want to say I love you guys. I love you too, man. Love the conversation
Aw.
and positive vibes and interesting conversations. I hope the love you send into the world is returned to you sevenfold. So
Aw.
yeah, I appreciate that, Tony, and I hope for you as well. And again, we got to get you and Mandy on here at some point to share in that. That
Mhm.
communion of the mind and that communion of the soul. I think that's what we do here on Liquored Up Live. Is silly as it's a silly as shit premise, but I don't know. It seems like a lot of people have taken to it in ways that continue to surprise me. So I'm glad you get something
Great
out of
show.
it. Well, thank you. I'm glad people get something out of it besides listening to a drunk old man fucking ramble about video games. Um, so you have a good opportunity to talk to K-pop with Feji here. I'll have a better opportunity next time for sure. But hopefully this set the ground for a future melding of the minds on that. And I'll be better
Yeah.
armed next time. But I wouldn't want her to match wits with an armless opponent, which is what she'd be doing. Um, so Endless Ocean is made by Arika in partnership with Nintendo, so it's not really an internal project. Yeah, definitely. Partner showcase and all. But again, the original Endless Ocean, I remember really, really vibing with that game on the Wii. So
Mhm.
I never played the second one, but the first one I really liked. So I'm sure it's going to be good. I'm sure it'll be a good game. It'll add something else that's unique to the Switch library. Just won't sell hardware. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Sorry, my bad. Nope, not your bad at all. Someone play him on the bus. Tony says Zaza, and then Sai says Japanese jazz fusion is so good. It is. It really is. 100% Japanese jazz is amazing. From Ryu Fukui to Hiroma Uehara. Oh yeah, yeah. Um, and then Tony and I are relative newcomers to K-pop. Oh, so I won't be alone then. Okay, like it's only
Yeah,
been a
me and
couple
Emily
months.
have
Hello. Okay.
corrupted them.
Okay. And then Emily says, "I'll make you a hot zoo." LOL. So you can try. You can try. Um, but me, yeah, I need to learn more about it for sure. Right now, like I said, I feel like a moron grows in Springfield on that topic, but could definitely get better for sure. Um, so it's true. She said she'd make me a hottest, and then I found myself a vinyl. Okay, so that's probably it. So she's gonna make me a hottest, and I go down that rabbit hole, and I come out a K-pop fan, like a K-pop on fire fan. So Fireball. Yep, there it is. Fire. It's a neat game, but it doesn't light the sell charts on fire. Yeah, exactly. Yep, 100%. Oh, Kentucky is losing. I just quit watching. Brooke,
Dang.
you're after my heart here because I'm a Bears fan. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So I think I don't even need to say any more than that. Like that's 90% of my fucking football games is like, yeah, fuck these losers. About halfway through, I sometimes I can my soul can stand to stick it through and watch them lose a game they've
Right.
won all night and then they fucking lose it in the last inning, like because they play that fucking prevent defense and they prevent themselves from winning. But a lot of times my heart just can't take it. Um, and then corrupted is a good word. Yeah. Corrupted is the word. Um, corrupted describes so many things. It describes so much in all things. Corrupted is the word. It's why Lord of the Rings, like Tony and I talk about Lord of the Rings being such a seminal work of art, because it literally talks about that. And here's the thing, and lightning hot take, but not really. Actually, it's confirmed scholarly. Um, Lord of the Rings is an anarchist work. It's a work of Christian anarchy,
Mm.
and it's fabulous. The whole thing, you got to throw the ring in the fire. You can't use the ring. You have to throw it in the fire. KO erupted, Sai says. And then Dragon's Dogma 2 is finally ready to play. And
Yay.
then, yeah, Sai says, you'll have to tell me how it runs, Tony. Definitely tell us how that runs.
Yes.
Because that's the thing with modern games these days, isn't it? I did see a really cool screenshot, and it was somebody posting, is like when this game became my game of the year. And there was some troll guy or some giant goblin monster, snarling beast guy across a ravine. And the monster like leapt for him and caught the side of the ledge he was on. And so the monster is
My God.
stretched over the ravine, like hanging on. He then walks
Mhm.
across the monster's back, cuts his legs, and then the monster falls into the ravin. But
Oh my god.
the animation was so fucking smooth on that. I'm like, holy shit,
Okay.
that looks good. Like that looks absolutely incredible. So yeah, Dragon's Dogma 2. I have Dragon's Dogma on the list on Switch. So at some point in the next between now and 2090, I will get a Dragon's Dogma review. So 2090 is the Flipping the Switch project will be done by 2090. Since you fuckers talked me into not killing my channel at 150. You will all rue the day that didn't happen, by the way. You'll all regret that. Should have killed it at 150. That's Dunbar's number. Should have killed it. Ah, goodness. So, any questions you have for me, Feji?
He answered all mine. All mine today.
Well, in that case, I think I will give you the gift of time. I'm ready to chomp into my food. This has been one for the ages, and we will have to get you scheduled for a round 3. Looks like we got some
Absolutely.
more chat coming in before we get this over with. Again, I read all the chats. These are called Super Chats. They're not Super Chats. These are Super Chats. They cost you $0, and I'll read your chat. $0. This is why I wish so hard that the Kentucky team from 2019-2020 was back. Yeah, I wish for a team I never experienced because I was literally an unborn baby, and that was the 1985 Chicago Bears. One day I will see
Aw.
a reincarnation of that team, 100%. They were a good team. Yeah, now I'm gonna have to go check out footage of that because I do like a good college basketball game. I've been compiling shaders for 30 seconds, and it's only 1A through. I'm excited to play it, but I think modern gaming design has some major potholes. It does. It
Mm.
100% does. And then, yep, there's that palm. And then Miss Mania, thanks for the stream, guys. Hey, thanks for coming out. Thanks for coming out. And then Tony says, yeah, thanks, guys,
Yes,
for the
thanks for
stream.
coming.
Have a blessed night, Feji and Zoo. And with that, Feji, I have one last question for you before we get all done here. Feji,
What may that be?
did you have fun?
I had a great time. It's always great to talk to you about anything between games, philosophy, life. It's always a great time.
I appreciate that. I definitely appreciate that. Go dig into some food. Go chow. Have you eaten yet?
Yes, I have not yet. I'm
So you're probably hungry
6:30
too,
here,
man.
so I'm getting ready. My stomach's ready.
Oh, me too. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up the stream. So, again, I enjoy your night. I love you guys all. You all guys are all great. Now, we're going to go eat and get the fuck out of here, everybody.
Bye.
One last F bomb. So, hopefully, we didn't drive Rad Bash too far into his alcohol coma. Take care, everybody. Rad Bash, drink responsibly.